Hello and welcome to part of the Gauntlet community. My name is Rich, and I am GM for Star Wars Saturdays. See the starry field background. And Star Wars Saturdays is an ongoing living campaign that I have had the joy of running for over a year now. Each month, I choose a different RPG, and then members of the Gauntlet community, we all gather together and we create characters, or sometimes we'll like borrow characters from previous sessions. And it's all a living campaign. So we're kind of creating effectively our own little pocket canon that exists within the original trilogy of Star Wars movies. We're currently around the time frame of Return of the Jedi. And that's loose, right? Because this is an anthology living campaign. So sometimes we'll have characters that like move in and out, and sometimes they progress forward in their own personal timeline, and we'll keep things happening. Right now, the general gist is that we're sometime around the zenith of Palpatine's power to potentially the aftermath of, a certain little snot-nosed brat stabbing him with a laser sword. We don't know. We'll figure that out because we are playing. I'm super excited because this is one of my personal favorite small book indie games that I hardly ever get to play, and it's called Primetime Adventures. Primetime Adventures is a wonderful game by Matt Wilson. There have been a number of editions. We'll be playing with a third edition, which was kickstarted a few years ago. Came out with some really cool like cards in the book, the PDF, and all kinds of fun stuff. And you can find that at dogeardesigns.com. Totally worth exploring. PDF is very is very worth the money, and I love it a lot. PTA is the short version. Primetime Adventures is a game about television drama. And so what we're going to do for the month of January 2019 is we're going to create our own little TV series that will be 4 episodes long. Why is this show short? I don't know. It's a BBC series. Maybe it got canceled on Fox because Fox is terrible that way. I'm not sure. But we're trying to work within the month time frame. And there may be a point where it's like just like a mini series, like 4 episodes, and they come back later. We're not sure. We're going to play it as hard as we can for the month that we have it. And so we have 3 players in the first session, and then all subsequent sessions we will have 4. One player, Horst, is unable to make it, and that's one of the reasons I started the recording kind of early, so that Horst and anybody who's curious about PTA has the opportunity to see the series creation process, which I think is pretty fun. We have Pavel, we have Joshua, and we have Alejandro. Thank you, my friends, for joining me in this little month-long excursion into PTA. So we have right now, Star Wars is on the table, general loose time frame around Return of the Jedi. And so that's the wide open. So we can talk a little openly about what kind of TV series interest us. Now, my job is I'm a player of PTA, but I've taken on the role of producer. And a producer is less of a director and more of a facilitator. So I'm going to hopefully get contributions from all you guys. I'm going to do my best to try to mix and match that together. Joshua, you had a couple of series ideas because I kind of pulled them out of you. Your beautiful brain. Did you want to throw this? I actually pulled it into a Word doc if you don't remember the email off the top of your head.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, we were chatting a little bit via email ahead of time, and the things that came to mind when you were talking about the system and everything were the first idea I had was like a team, but we're all members of the rebellion essentially. So you've got a little bit of comedy, but some action and drama between the team and all that. The other one was like a Law and Order type TV show, but we're ISB agents, which is like the Imperial Security Bureau, So that could be a little weird since we would be bad guys technically, although we don't all have to be super jerks. And then the third idea I had, which I can't really think of a TV show that does this off the top of my head, but it would just be like a pod racing or ship racing show where we're all racers and there's lots of fun on and off the track action. But I'm super interested to hear what other ideas people have too.
Yeah, when we say Star Wars and television series, what's the dreams TV series that you guys have had in your back of your brain? Like, man, I wish they'd do a TV series of Star Wars about X. When that Disney Plus comes out, this is what I want to see. Alejandro, any Star Wars series that interest you?
What was that Star Wars series that came out that they were like 5 minute?
No, sorry.
Yeah, they were like 5 minute like cartoons. It was with Anakin.
You're talking about the one that Genndy Tartakovsky first came out with? Oh, okay, like the Clone Wars, like
it was like Clone Wars. It was like in
the Clone Wars shorts that came out before the prequel started. Those were hot. I love those.
That I thought was, and I haven't seen it since then, so I barely remember. So I like the A-Team idea, but those shorts were like, I thought was like the perfect Star Wars representation. If everything was those shorts, you know, I mean, just those kind of, they were just like punchy and I don't know. So
yeah, they were.
I think very few people actually agree with me. Like a lot of people didn't like that series, but I loved it.
I adore the series. I've actually rewatched them. Someone laced them all together on a YouTube thing, and there's even. Oh, I can't find the picture. Dang it. There it is. I'm about to add a picture to the Roll20. By the way, Alejandro, did you see the link I put in the chat there for Roll20?
Yeah, I'm signing up for Roll20 right now. So.
Oh, okay. I just threw onto their picture from the Clone Wars that I adored. It's a Tals, which are these four-eyed creatures with these little proboscis type deals, carrying Emperor Palpatine. I love the guy. It was such a cool. Finally saving poor old Palpatine. He's looking, oh, I'm so weak. Oh, please help me, young Tals. And then of course the Tals got ganked by Grievous, because Grievous was badass before he showed up in the actual movie, and then he was kind of weenie. So, yeah, Roll20 is where we're going to be playing. I just want to do a quick screen. You know what? Let's step back. Rich is getting ahead of himself. Let's talk more about the TV series. So we have on the board, we have the idea of like an A-team, like a Law and Order group, or pod or ship racing. And then we have the idea of these shorts, like the Clone Wars shorts as an inspiration. Pablo, what about you?
I always very like shows about a journey of a crew of a ship, but I'm not sure if it makes for a good Force series, because I like changing environments. I like seeing us on a space station, seeing us land somewhere on a planet. However, yeah, I'm not sure if this would make a good Force series show. For a moment, I really jumped on the idea of pod racing. However, However, when I think about Star Wars, I think that what makes difference between Star Wars and other sci-fi is that there is the Force and that there are the lightsabers and the Stormtroopers. So without them, we could do pod racing in any other sci-fi. So in Star Wars, I'm thinking that maybe actually the ISB. I also thought about ISB, although not maybe like precisely about ISB. I thought about maybe someone is a rebellion, or I don't know, someone who was Imperial agent but now returned to the rebellion, but they're still on a Empire-controlled planet, and like rebellion infiltrates this planet. I was thinking about more kind of like this kind of drama. So that, but then I'm thinking what would connect our characters.
Okay. So Alejandro, you threw in the idea of the A-team and the planet jumping could really work. I agree there. Yeah, I
specifically Powell's what Powell described.
Yeah, Pavel. I'm with Pavel. Like, changing planets is one of the things, like the idea of the huge colorscape of traveling to a place that you've never been before. I think that's a really cool idea and a big part of Star Wars that interests me. And yes, Stormtroopers and the Force are also huge tropes within Star Wars that I don't want to walk away from. So the Rebel A team seems like it solves for some of those. Now you threw out the idea of like a rebel on an Imperial planet, which kind of sounds like it's a bit of an espionage, like rebel cell resistance type of drama. Pavel, does that interest?
Yes, this way or the other way around. Someone like, I don't know, ISB agents on a rebellion planet. But then it also makes it a very high stake, because if you are discovered, you are done. And that's not very good for a series, I think. So if you can do planet jumping, I'm sold. Like, I love planet jumping. On a planet, then on some freezing planet, then do some train heist. I'm all in. However, I'm not sure how much PTA actually focuses on the action.
So it really is about the drama. There are no special mechanics for shooting people that's any different from embarrassing someone. So it's all about like pursuing your agenda and trying to use some edges to get you extra cards and that kind of stuff. Now, I will throw out one thing, mostly so I can talk about myself. So back in the day, I played Star Wars D6. My buddy Christopher Robin Cronin ran the game for me and my buddy Norwood. And we had a game where we were speeder bike racers, but we were working for the rebellion. And so we went from planet to planet because we were part of a circuit. But every time we would land on a planet, we had like a little mission. So it was very Mission Impossible kind of deal, with the idea that one of us was like the speeder bike guy and the other guy was the mechanic. And so that was a thing that had some serious legs. But again, it was also with Star Wars D6, and there was a joke about duct tape. We used duct tape and we, like, at one point we had it doesn't matter. I'll shush now. It was great. So that is a possibility if we wanted to go with the idea of the pod racing, but still have the idea of moving from planet to planet and have some rebel stuff going on, as you could be, some kind of race team is a possibility.
Well, I don't know
that's
how.
actually cool.
Yeah. I was just going to say, one of the episodes could be us like infiltrating an Imperial base or embedded on an Imperial planet or something, like it doesn't have to be the whole thing. That way we could still planet jump, but we could get that idea in to one of the episodes. I don't know if that would be hard to plan or manage.
I'm also thinking about having some entourage with us, because this game also encourages us to have some kind of like relations. So we should have some kind of entourage moving with us. I don't know, someone's ex-lover, someone's wife. I don't know, some complicated relationships.
Yeah, and as you create your character, each of you guys will have like a personal set. Mm-hmm. And it's the place where you can go and kind of recharge your abilities, as it were. Because if you don't, then you can like burn out of certain things that you can use per episode. Yeah. And it's just a really loose framework to give you the idea of like, hey, this is the person, whenever so-and-so goes to recharge, they're in the steam baths, or they're working on their, speeder bike, whatever, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a personal set, and then some fraught relations are a big part of Primetime Adventures.
I actually really like the idea. If we can make our ship be a little bit bigger than just the four of us, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe not all of us are rebels. Maybe like one of us is as rebels, and the others are trying to convince him that he should stop doing this because it endangers all of us. This is like stupid. Empire is too strong, and then we could have like this kind of, so that, I don't know, someone can be like more pro rebels, the other one can be like pro Imperium, but we are jumping from planet to planet to take part in these races. Maybe we'll go on some mission for someone, who knows? But yeah, it kind of has this like racing part, and then planet jumping part, and then some rebellions, and then some rebellion teams.
So Alejandro, how are you feeling about the Rebel A team, which means you guys are all like special forces, but not officially part of it, and you're doing your own kind of thing, versus the speeder bike idea versus another idea? Alejandro, where are you feeling? Any of those that really spark your interest more than the others?
Yeah, I'm really not interested in the. I'm not entirely sure what the speeder bike idea is because I was really focused on on creating my Roll20 account, so I apologize.
No worries. No worries.
But I'm not so interested in the speeder. If it's an episode, I'm cool with it, but not it being the focus of the whole game.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
I really I dig the A team at thing. I heard the last thing that Powell said, and I don't know how I feel about that. There's one rebel and everybody else is, that feels like too much like Friends to me. I don't know. The show Friends. Like one person is like, I want to be a rebel, and everybody's like, oh, don't be a rebel. That's dumb. I don't know. It just
Okay. I was like, wait. How is that like Friends? Who is
Yeah.
Phoebe? Is Phoebe a rebel? I just need to know.
I would say so.
All right. I agree with you then. Now I have quotes from Friends bubbling around in my head, and the idea.
I played the first edition of Primetime Adventures.
Nice.
And I gotta say that I'm really happy to hear that there's a third edition, because there were the first edition was almost a successful game. It was almost a good game. So now that there's a third edition and that there's a dedicated set of cards, that's really I think they probably nailed it. So I mean, I'm hoping they did.
I think it's pretty hot. So
good. Yeah, I'm confident. Who designed the game?
Same guy, Matt Wilson.
Yeah, Matt Wilson. Yeah. Okay. So I if I remember correctly, I don't think we're going to be at a lack of there being interpersonal conflict. The game will kind of help us drive there. Is that correct?
It will.
Yeah.
It will. I think Pavel's concern, which I share, is if you guys are hopping from planet to planet, we need to make sure that there are some continuing communications relationships, that you're not always walking away from relationship with NPCs and the ability to pursue your goals and agenda, or dealing with your character's issue.
We could also have a maybe somebody mentioned this, an Imperial spy in as a fifth member of the crew or something.
That's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. All right, so let's circle back around. It seems like Alejandro's the race team not super interested, so let's take it off the board right now and re-review. So we've got A team. Seems like everyone has been generally positive towards the idea of A team because you get to travel from planet to planet. You guys are all at least officially on board with the rebellion, but none of you are part of the military. You're like this group. Do you want to actually ride in with the idea of the A team? You guys are all you've escaped an imperial high security imperial, like the spice mines of Kessel. You escaped the spice mines of Kessel and went to the rebel underground out in the Outer Rim, and now you're doing special missions for the rebellion. Or and I just want to make sure I'm not running roughshod over anybody. Are there any other ideas other than Rebel A team that we want to tease out before we start moving forward?
I also like the idea of staying in one place. I don't know, a planet or a space station. I think space station will be kind of more interesting, and just kind of like a Deep Space Nine. I know it's not Star Wars, but you have a lot of people and some trouble happening on a space station, and then we can all be the management team of the station, or some other connection between us, but everyone can still have the freedom. Do you want to be more a rebel, or more an Imperial spy, or this can be an independent system, and everyone would like to venture here? Because the A team, I like the idea, but I'm just not sure if the system handles action that well. But we will have to see. So.
Space Station's pretty hot. I have to admit, I have been, now that Amazon Prime Video here in America, sorry, Pavel, has Babylon 5. I've been rewatching the first season so far. I will keep going of Babylon 5, and that's a fucking great show. Oh my God, I love Babylon 5. Space Station's juicy. What do you think, Joshua? What do you think about the space station versus like Rebel 18?
I like the idea of the space station. I think I would want to have all of the characters be on the same side, whether it's an Imperial space station and we're rebels kind of infiltrating it, or trying to figure out like maybe there's a secret thing going on at the secret space station. Or the other way around, like we're all running an Imperial station, or we're just, doing our own thing and rebels and Empire are there as well, kind of thing. We're just running our business, kind of stuff. But I totally dig that idea.
Alondra, what do you think about Space Station versus Rebel A-Team?
Well, it's a different mindset than Star Wars, and I was really looking forward to a Star Wars game with planet jumping and exactly what Pavel originally said he was interested in. I really, I was really like, I'd like there to see, sneaking onto the Death Star to, the woo, 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 do that stuff. I want to see lightsabers. I want to see gunfights and all that kind of stuff. I want to see the colors. I want to see the changing panorama, all that kind of stuff. And I agree with Pavel, the concern that it doesn't support action. So if we're thinking A-Team is very high action oriented. But if you have those elements in the background, the changing landscapes and the gunfights and we're focusing on a personal drama, I think we could do that. I think we can pull off a really interesting Star Wars TV show. That feels like Star Wars, right? But yeah, Deep Space Nine doesn't feel like Star Wars to me. So I'm cool with Star Trek. I'm a first generation guy. I'm sorry, original series guy.
Mm-hmm.
I love Captain Kirk and all that kind of. But whatever, I'm not knocking Star Trek. I'm just kind of in the Star Wars headspace when I was thinking about this game.
Fair. Okay, so I can hear what you're saying, and there are some things we'd have to leave on the table if we did Space Station. You guys, it's not like it's a space station that's going to be over Hoth one day and over the Force Moon of Endor the next day. It would have a single landscape, which is cheaper for sets, but we've got CGI and unlimited budget, so what the hell. So Alejandro, are you like circling us back towards the idea of let me just blanket say one thing. I feel very strongly, because of previous experience with Primetime Adventures 3rd edition, we can have action sequences and it will still be fulfilling and fun, and you can solve and have dramatic moments during action sequences. You can do Star Wars in PTA, and you can do a Star Wars lightsaber battle in PTA 100%. So if that's the reason that we wanted to go to Space Station, maybe we go circle back and kind of zone in on the idea of you guys being a team that travels from planet to planet. Do we stay with the idea of A-Team? Seems like nobody was opposed to A-Team other than just some concern with the idea around action sequences. You raised your hand, Alejandro.
Yeah, I just want to say that just something occurred to me about the space station. It could be a roving space station, right? Like we could come up with an idea as to why this space station has to go from system to system. Maybe it's some sort of diplomatic. I mean, in Phantom
Space
Menace.
Love Boat? Is that what you want? You want Space Love Boat? I know you, Alejandro.
I wouldn't be opposed to that, but that might be something else. But what it could be like a diplomatic ship, like the ship that those racist Asian creatures from the Phantom Menace were. You know what I mean? It could be like some sort of roving space station that has a reason to go from location to location, and then we can have like jump off to different planets that way. Just throwing that idea out there, just kind of mixing a little bit of both ideas.
Yeah, I think
I'm not married to the idea.
We need some kind of hub, right? If we're going to be planet hopping, then it needs to be a ship or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have all of our cool NPCs.
Yeah, so curiously, we can stay with the idea of the A-team and the ship that jumps from planet to planet. We can talk about the ship. We can talk about the characters in the show, because I don't know, maybe not all of us need to be on the A-team. Maybe some of us are like support cast or something. Because I totally imagine this has to be a larger ship than just 4 of us. It probably has to be, I don't know, 30, 50 people ship.
Yeah, I think my recommendation is rather than you guys just being like a tight 4-person ship that it be something like a medium or heavy class freighter, and you could be a freighter that is effectively like a cruise liner if we wanted. I mean, it was a joke that I call Space Love Boat, but that could be a great excuse for people to travel planet to. I don't know. I rewatched the Young Justice 2 seasons of Young Justice in preparation for the new episodes, which just came out, and they're amazing. But there was one where there was a traveling circus, and they went from city to city, and this person was within the circus was stealing
That's
something.
perfect. So traveling circus. Let's do it.
Any opposition to traveling circus?
But like, are we dropping the idea of the rebels, or like what? Or are we using traveling circus as
the cover?
I was just joking.
Okay, all right.
Because I actually think that some kind of like a freighter is a good cover, because a rebel ship can't move easily in an imperial space, so the ship still needs some kind of official cover that we are just like a freighter hauling stuff from place to place.
That could be really fun, and you could go a little Cowboy Bebop in that you've got like a main freighter, but you have a couple of starfighters that you can go off and do a little solo private. I got to go deal with my thing. I think that's got some legs. What do you guys feel about the idea of technically you're all attached to like a heavy freighter that is a transport, and it's got a circuit that it runs, so you can kind of pop out to the outer rim. You run up along the trade route, like either the Rema or the Corellian
that's a really cool idea. I dig that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna focus this down then. We're good. And hey, there's always opportunities for future series. This is a series we're going to try to tease out. Let's see if we can come up with a cast. So this is the next step. So we've got our premise idea. The premise idea is that it's like a heavy class transport freighter. And might have some rebel scum. Okay, so let's see. We've got our premise idea. What's our tone? So some of these suggestions in Primetime Adventures are very centered around American television, so I'll try to broaden that a little bit. I think that one of the great things about PTA for me is that it allows us to have a bit of a conversation about not just tone, but also what conventions we would have around that. So let's talk real quick. What do we think this show would be rated? Like, so the United States TV is of course easiest to us, but do we think that this should be like an NC-7 or like an, what is the R rating in Europe, Pavel? Like something that's rated R17 and older. allowed in without parents? Anybody under than that needs strict?
I don't know. I never looked into the ratings.
Oh, okay. All right. So do we want to go like TVMA, which mature audiences only, or do we want to keep it a little more on the idea of parents are just strongly cautioned, or do we want to keep it more general?
Yeah, I think this like TV-14. I think this TV-14 is a good idea. I'm looking at what is in the book, so include some strong language, violence, or sexual situation possible. So,
all right. Yep, parents strongly cautioned. Strong violence, strong language, violence, or sexual situation. It sucks that this thing just came out not long ago, like within the last few years, and the TV shows are already like gone. That's the thing about like making a TV show. Right? All right, so TV 14. Anybody opposed? Want to go higher or lower on that rating?
I'm good with that, but can we be flexible?
So talk to me about flexible, because I'd rather us come up with something we all agree to than say this is our thing, but it's not our thing.
I just think that if that was our touch point rather than a hard, fast rule, it would be good. I mean, unless somebody has issues with like mature. I'm not necessarily interested in going into sexual, graphic sexual content. I'm not opposed to somebody else doing that, maybe, but like, well, I don't know. I don't see this game going very violent, like grotesque violent. That's not really Star Wars. So yeah, I'm good with it. Yeah, I'm good with that. So
okay, cool. And I'm happy to talk through stuff like that, Alejandro. Yeah. And also superseding our tone and everything like that, we do have the safety tool of the X card on the table. So even if something might make it through on a TV 14, if it's something that makes you as a player uncomfortable, or something that you don't want to personally deal with, all you need to do is make an X. You can type that in the chat or just say out here, hey, I need to X card so-and-so. We'll have a brief conversation. I don't want to challenge what you're X carding as much as understand it. And then we'll work our way around it and we'll just write that out. So we'll go with TV 14 then, but X card on top of that. Good. Awesome. So let's talk about our cast list. So we've got this heavy class transport freighter that's kind of working up and down a particular trade route. So occasionally you'll be in mid-rim, you might be out in the outer rim, might be in the inner core. If you don't know what I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I mean, as far as Imperial control, because there's this huge galaxy and there are these core worlds are like super, super locked down. And then the mid-rim is generally, it's like the suburbs. And then the outer rim is like the ghetto. That is how I think of them in my adult brain. So what cast list? Of course, we'd need a captain. Any adjectives that we would use to describe the captain? Is this like a young, fresh captain or a grizzled captain that's done one too many long hauls?
So in some of the EU books, like after Return of the Jedi, Lando becomes a like owner of some businesses, and he gets involved in the rebellion because he's like loaning them these freighters. And so I like the idea of the captain essentially just being like Lando by a different name, like he's in this, but really he's in it to make money, not necessarily to help the rebellion.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, cool. So we'll get to PC. So once we talk about cast, and I'll walk you guys how I've created, because it's a little like large text box with things that you type in a lot of stuff. Sorry. It's kind of the PTA way. Cool. So we got a captain that's maybe in it for just in it for the money, but not necessarily opposed as long. Okay. All right. What are some other people that we would have on this heavy class transport freighter?
So let me ask about the captain. Is the captain we know he's in it about the money, and that the players know that he's in it about the money, and that fundamentally that's all he's really about. But is he pro or like is he pro rebel? Like is he for the rebellion? Like on as far as the crew knows, or did we establish that? The transport is, as far as the Empire is concerned, the transport is a neutral transport, right? It's not a rebel.
It's
or
got
imperial.
it's got the
It's a private enterprise.
codes. It's legit. It's a legit transport freighter.
So then, is the captain a rebel?
I think he's probably a rebel sympathizer, was what I was thinking.
Okay.
Like maybe not an official member of the rebellion, but he doesn't like the Empire kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, like Lando. Very much like
Right.
Lando. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is Bando. This is Captain Bando for our purposes right now. We'll probably end up with a better name, but for now we'll call him Captain Bando. What are some other Captain? And so this is kind of pie in the sky. This is, we're going to throw a bunch of characters out there, and then one of them is probably going to be on like, shit, I got to play that guy, or I got to play that girl, or that droid is my character. But for now, we're just going to create the cast.
I think there should be like a pilot of the ship who actually sits in like, I don't know, some anti-grav chair and he wanted to like steer on a TIE fighter, but for some reason he got into this business, and now he still want to pilot a TIE fighter or an X-Wing or whatever, but he pilots this like junk ship. But it's his job. So
it's awesome. I love it.
Say like a reckless pilot, something like this. I would characterize this character.
He's just always chopping at the bit of like, no, let's avoid so and so. That sounds good. I like it. Probably got some engineers, maybe like a mechanic, a head mechanic.
Yeah. I was thinking exactly like this.
What would our head mechanic be like? Is this like a Scotty type guy who's always overestimating how long it'll take to fix anything so they look like a wizard? Or is this somebody that's...
I feel like kind of like a bureaucrat. Like he will complain that you, I don't know, forgot to return a hammer because now he has to file a report that he lost a hammer, and this will take him next 20 minutes of something. I kind of think of him like a bureaucrat.
Everybody like that for the head mechanic is just being a penny pinching, like, yeah, no opposition. Good. Joshua, what kind of characters are you thinking about would be on the heavy freighter?
This is kind of like random, but I really like the idea of a cook.
Yes. So not an auto chef. You guys have a legit cook, a person who makes meals.
Oh yeah, like it's really important to the captain or whatever, you know, that there's fresh food, but I'm sure that there's like a really nice profit margin to that. So there's probably some like cheaper, you know, vending machine style food, but there's like a nice little mess or cafe or whatever you want to call it.
So what's the cook's personality like? Like this is a job, or they're kind of an artiste, or are they always talking about the healthy benefits of eating, or, you know?
I think it's more towards the artiste side.
Okay, so they're a chef then.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. Alejandro, any cast members that we are desperately missing that could immediately jump to mind for you?
Yeah, I was just thinking that there's going to be a guard, right, to fend off pirates. So there's the captain of the guard. I was just looking at the races, and I'm interested in the Weequay possibly being like.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
The what is dwarf or Worf?
Oh yeah. You're talking about Worf, Michael Dorn's character.
Yeah. So that kind of.
So you don't want Tasha Yar who like dies suddenly with, you know, just because of budget negotiations for the character. Okay, good. I gotcha.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. A Weequay security chief is badass. That super makes me excited. We need to have the big staff like they do in on Tatooine, the few Weequay we've seen. I love it.
Yeah.
That's dope. Cool. Circle back around. So we've got a captain. We've got the ship's pilot. We have a mechanic. We have the chef. We have a security chief. What else are we missing?
Well, we need the Rebel Commando Squad somehow as the crew part.
Okay.
I think that's what we wanted to have.
Are we thinking that this Rebel Squad is like their own little group, or they all like have jobs on the ship?
They're probably disseminated through the ship, right?
Sounds good. Okay, cool. So what are some jobs on the ship that some of our Rebel crew will be part of?
I think as the specialties go, maybe like someone is the not the main freighter pilot, but like the cargo hauler. I mean this like smaller ship that actually takes cargo from our ship to the planet.
Oh, yeah.
I think the name for this.
The loader.
So like, what?
The loader. I don't know.
Yeah. So one can be like a loader pilot. Someone definitely on the security team. I think security chief should be on the squad as well, or kind of like a very pro rebel. Someone's definitely like among the mechanics.
Okay, sounds good.
Because when the ship is in transport, everyone has to do their jobs actually, just for the ship to work.
So I want to throw a thing out because it's like a heavy frigate. This is based off some stuff I read in a couple of Starship manuals, right? So it's all made up science, quasi-science. I loved the idea where I saw a couple of ships that specifically had oxygen-rich plants that were kept in almost like a garden, specifically because just air filters can only handle so much, and you have a whole lot of stale air. And so you have this kind of garden that's there that, sure, you can grow a little bit of plant. Maybe the chef loves it, but you've effectively got a gardener their responsibility is just to make sure that the plants stay growing, and they maybe have a secondary responsibility around the air scrubbers and the air purity for the heavy class frigate. You guys good with that? Anybody have any like objection to the idea of a gardener?
Sounds really cool.
I also like the idea of like a big green set, in the middle of a spaceship.
I think that's really cool, and I kind of almost have this idea of it being it's actually like I can see the captain going in there and doing his rounds, and that's where he collects himself. But it's really just like this show of opulence, rather than
this captain's killing me. I love this guy already. He's really good. This is good. Awesome. Awesome. So we've got a gardener. I'm going to steal some more shit from Star Trek. Do we have a bar? Do we have a 10 forward on the ship, or just like a place where people go to drink and relax? Is it that big of a ship or no?
Absolutely.
All right.
There's got to be a bar. I was also thinking, kind of tie in with the bar. What if there was like a traveling performer group that liked being on the freighter because of the bar and the cafe or whatever, but also had kind of a deal where they would always go down and perform whatever ports that they were at, and so they were just kind of attached to the freighter for that reason.
I love it. Like mobile buskers. That's pretty hot.
The captain is this total. I mean, he's the God, I can't think of any words right now. The quintessential like capitalist. Like every one of these things that you're describing is a means of making money off of the crew that he's hired to perform the job, and he's just fully like, okay, of course he has a little bar restaurant thing, because now he can make money off of his crew from that, and then the performers he makes I think it's awesome.
Captain Bando's got it going on. I love it. Sweet. So off the top of your head, any places that we're missing? Any, like, not necessarily like cast, not necessarily set. So we've got this traveling performing group, our mobile buskers. We've got the rebel sympathizer, but definitely capitalist Captain Bando. We've got the ship's pilot who's running around in an anti-grav chair constantly complaining about, you know, if they had gotten that job as a TIE fighter pilot. We've got the chef, who is the cook. We have our gardener. We have a Weequay security chief. We have this head mechanic or engineer who's incredibly like a bean counting bureaucrat. We've got a loader pilot that handles a small, a smaller ship that just kind of takes stuff down to stations and the like. And we have a bartender in our little 10 forward type set. Any other cast members that you guys are super interested in?
A nurse or infirmary.
Oh yeah, yeah, doctor.
We need to have our Dr. Bashir.
Wow, I was going to go Dr. Franklin, but I like Bashir. Bashir is like one of my favorite ship doctors, so that's pretty hot.
I don't know who Bashir is, but
It's from Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
He was good. He was a good character.
Yeah. What other things are there on the ship?
Oh, by the way, it was revealed later in DS9. This is some original series lore for you, Alejandro. It was revealed later on that he was a kind of manufactured clone similar to Khan. So, there's a little tie there. That was awesome. It was a neat little reveal that happened several seasons into DS9 and was blew my mind. The end. Back to this. As far as the NPC sheet, I'm basically just scribbling down on my little TV series, and then I'm going to create a table in Roll20. I gesture over here because that's where the mantra is that I have Roll20 on. Sorry, I'm not gesturing to a person or anything. But over on my second monitor, I have Roll20, and I'll create a table that's like a handout you can use in Roll20, and we'll have that up there. Because I don't know if these are PCs yet.
Yeah, I'm thinking about someone who performs the job of like a purchaser, someone who actually like makes deals, because I imagine that Captain, he wants in on a deal, but it's not this kind of person. Like Captain would go to like close the deal, but like maybe we need a person who like lands on a planet, we unload the stuff, and he just goes like, I don't know, bar to bar, company to company, like who needs stuff to send where, and then the captain just goes to like sign the deals. I'm just thinking that's like kind of like a face person.
Yeah, that's cool. Like both nefarious and legitimate opportunities.
I really like that. That's a great idea.
Yes, I was just thinking about those nefarious opportunities.
I don't know what the title of that role is, though.
A fixer, a salesperson, deal closer.
I think in a corporation, it's like the purchaser, I think is the title. I'm not really sure. Yeah.
Purchaser/fixer. I don't know.
Yeah, sounds good.
I also think since it's Star Wars, we have to have some droids, and maybe there's like a aside from the mechanic, there's someone who's in charge of maintaining all of the droids on the ship.
Oh yeah. A droid repair person. You probably got like this crazy little workshop, and they have all these droid pieces they've kept over. Oh yeah, we can recalibrate, and it's not like they have a 3D printer. They got to go in and like shave down a couple of cogs to make it fit. Oh, this sounds great. That sounds great. And of course, the mechanic never gives them all the parts that they need, so they're constantly scrounging. I'm going way off. I'm like going off on that. Sorry, that's just super exciting to me.
And they're always suggesting things to the mechanic. Oh, you should fix this. And
they give arguments. Oh, this is great. That's great. Good idea. Anything else that we need for like Star Warsing it up?
I'm not sure if I necessarily want to play it, but maybe somewhere there we need to have a Wookiee on a ship. I'm not really sure what he or she will be doing, but I think just like having a Wookiee on a ship in a Star Wars is like just need to happen.
Okay, the Wookiee's part of the traveling performing group.
He's a singer.
Wookiee singer. That is now canon in our TV series. Thank you, Alejandro. That is a nice one to punch. My friend.
Also, we don't have to go there, but should we have like a just a passenger who we all as players know is probably a Jedi in hiding, but maybe we just never get into that. Maybe we do.
I've written it down, so
That way, if we need lightsabers, they can come out later.
it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Holocrons and all that good stuff. That sounds fun. Do you guys think you have like a cell leader, like a rebel cell leader that's on the ship, or do you think the rebel cell is a cast member but maybe not on the ship? Like they just show up in their little hologram type deal.
I was almost thinking that like the loader pilot is kind of the contact person, the rebel contact person, which could be the leader, but I don't know. I mean, they just kind of seem to fit. Like,
It's good. I like that because they have the most independence from the ship that they can hop in their thing and go off and go to pick up a load. Okay, I like that. Any other cast members that we haven't covered, and we may discover more as we go. I just want to kind of broad range. I want to narrow down the characters that you guys play.
I think there being passengers, just floating passengers, just coming in and out. That's kind of, yeah, that didn't occur to me at first. But of course, Captain Bando's gonna look for any opportunity to make money. So yeah, he's gonna have passengers. So that's.
Oh man,
I don't know if they'd be regular characters, but
you didn't give me enough to fill up our hold. So cordon off these 3 areas. We've got 6 new cabins. Bam, go sell them.
Yeah,
sounds great. I love it. Oh, this is juicy. This is juicy. Of course, things out there. Of course, we need to name the freighter at some point. I may go to a random starship name generator. It's really good. We can fine point some of the performing group mechanics, security team as we need. I feel like we've covered most everything. Is there any big gaping holes on our heavy freighter?
I mean, do we need a weapons officer? Does the freighter even have weapons, or is it just like they have a few fighters or something in case?
That's a great question.
I think so, because it maybe not heavy artillery, but I think it's it's a freighter. It's going to be prone to pirates and whatnot, so it's got to protect itself. So
then it
seems
seems like
it's
you're
big enough that it's going to haul some pretty pricey stuff sometimes.
Makes sense. I would imagine the security chief wouldn't necessarily be the person who's like the gunnery chief either, right? You'd have someone that's in charge of security chief would probably be the person who's kind of like the marshal. Like I handle the people on the ship. But when we're attacked, then there's someone on bridge that makes sure that the turbo lasers are lined up and someone scrambles the few starfighters that you guys have. Is that good?
Yeah, I like that idea.
Okay, awesome. So then we got some starfighters. Rich just snuck that in for dogfighting. And you got a gunnery chief probably. Okay. Going once, going twice. All right, our cast list is pretty broad. I am going to take a minute. I've created a handout that's just basically blank right now, but I'm going to go quickly try to write in some of these in a table so you guys have the opportunity to kind of look it over, because our next step is that we are going to, let's see, I think I'll make it. I'm going to add more later. All right. We are going to pull characters out of this.
So kind of as a side question, should we all try to be part of this A team, or are we cool with some people being just on the freighter?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask, because we drifted a little bit away from this A-team concept. Yeah, I'm not sure if we all need to be part of it. If you want to go into some action scenes, then we probably should.
Well, and I think if we're going to be going down to the planet, we probably shouldn't necessarily be the people who wouldn't be going down to the planet, unless those players are okay with maybe not being in some of the scenes and that kind of stuff, you know. Because if we're doing a lot of stuff on planet, then the mechanic probably isn't going to be going down a lot. Whereas the purchaser and other people who might not be on the A team will at least be on location.
But the security team could be, you know,
Yeah.
go down with the planet. You know, and I think there's an option where it's optional where you go down with the loader to protect the loader. Like if you're going to Mos Eisley, for example, you know, you need a full security detail, but and other, you know, other times you may not even need a security detail at all. So
Yeah, and we could probably come up with excuses for almost anyone to leave the ship, honestly.
yeah. I need to take a break. I know that Rich, you're working on some
Yeah,
stuff.
you know what, guys? It's 5 after. Let's take 7 minutes. I'm gonna quickly transcribe the stuff that I've written down, and then we're gonna make characters. Okay?
Okay.
Cool.
How you doing, Pavel?
Doing good, doing good. Enjoying the weekend.
Good.
Cooked something before the session. Now I'm just really excited and very uncertain of who do I want to play. I've been
me
reading
too.
the rulebook in a rush, kind of understand the game.
I got you, man. I got you. We're cool. Don't you stress. All right.
When I move this window around, does it move around on everybody's screen?
No,
I haven't seen you move a window around, so
The cast list.
no.
go ahead.
The pro tip: you can double click the cast list, and it will like shrink and become like very transparent. And then you can double click it, and it will open to full.
Okay.
Now, if you like, well, as we make characters, I'll show you how I've tried to set things up in Roll20 because Primetime Adventures is a very tactile game in its original conception. You know, you've got cards. You're supposed to have like poker chips out for fan mail and budget and all this other stuff. And I'm trying to replicate that on Roll20 and keep that in mind as we play through in case there's feedback for better ways to represent it. I've never seen anybody run Primetime Adventures on Roll20 before, so I just tried to reconceptualize it to the best of my ability. All right, we are going to take, if you guys take a look, I've set the cast list as a handout. Got Captain Bondo, ship's pilot. I didn't give gender or names to anyone because any of these could be player characters or they could be just NPCs. I don't care. But I like what we have so far to help kind of set a nice framework for characters. So there are things that you will do as you go, oh, that's the person I want to play. And in creating a character, you're going to need to know what their general concept is. And that's a short phrase. You can take any of the descriptions from the cast list, add an objective or an adjective to kind of give them a little bit more heft or interest to you. And once you've got that, then the next step, once you get past concept, is your issue. And that would be your most defining characteristic. Is the thing that you struggle against with or against the most. It's more than a character flaw. It's how you behave, how you think of yourself. And through this issue, all of us as players have the chance to see the complexity of your character that we will challenge. And so once you have your issue, you'll also know what your impulse, you'll need to figure out what your impulse is. And that's how you react to stimuli, your initial way that you have to deal with those issues. So issue and impulse are two big parts of your character. Then we'll worry about personal set edges and connections. That's not that big a deal. Well, it's a big deal, but it's nothing to be scared of. Anyone have particular members of the cast that call to them that they would like to play?
I'm kind of developing an idea. The second in command to the security chief. Does that work? Somebody that can like possibly fly a fighter, but can also easily be sent down to the ship, sent down to the planet. Just he seems a little bit more flexible than the actual security chief.
So maybe you want to play the gunner chief.
Well, the gunner chief would have to stay on the ship, right? To protect, to man the guns in case there's an attack while the,
But as a chief, you can always have I need to like make sure that we have enough ammunition or whatever.
No, I like the idea of the security chief, like being the second. I don't know what the title would be, but the second in command of the security chief. I don't know. I just like that idea.
Okay, that's fine.
I also like the idea of him being untrained Force user.
Okay, that's scary. I love it.
Cool.
That is probably something you can add as an edge.
Okay.
So when we get to that step, I think that's definitely a thing and kind of note in your character sheet. By the way, let's take a look. Let me do a quick Roll20 walkthrough. Hopefully this will help folks. If not, ask questions. All right. So you guys have already seen the cast list. I've got down here, I've got a number of helpful things I pulled out of the book, talking about how to frame scenes, how the scene goes when we throw cards, and how fan mail, the budget and fan mail ecosystem works. But that's not coming to play right now. So I've added in parentheses PC name, and I'm mostly doing this because I think, Alejandro, you just made an account, so I want to make sure you're comfy with it. So Alejandro, you should have the ability to edit. So all you need to do there is go up here and edit. You can, add a picture file if you want, but that's not required. Go in here, and if you rename this part right here, then this will be renamed as well.
Wait, what?
Yes.
How do I open that window?
Hold on. So you want to. So right here is where, like, oh wow, thanks Pavel for writing all that stuff down. I didn't even see it. So what you want to do is you want to go here to Journal, and then you should see Alejandro's PC under Characters. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Cool. So once you click that open, I've given you rights to edit. I'll go ahead and show the player so everybody can see it right now. And when you edit, it'll pop in. You've got a place where in bio is where I put the pieces of a character for Primetime Adventures. Your issue, your impulse, your personal set, edges, and connections. And this is mostly, there are two things here in attributes, which are screen presence and fan mail. And the reason I set that up is that I set a relationship between Alejandro's PC and the blue chip, right? So that stat is you can double click on it, and here's your fan mail. You just put in stat there, and then there's your screen presence. You can use that to buy and spend and all that good stuff. So it's a lot that I've shown you. What you really need to worry about right now, though, is just going into your bio and info and starting to fill out your issue and your impulse. And we'll worry about how I am going to make audience pool and the producer's budget work in a little bit.
Where does concept go?
Great question. So I would put concept at the top, and I'll just add concept because I should have already.
So while you are doing this, I want to run my issue through for everyone, and I know that everyone is okay. I thought about, I'm not sure which role on the ship this character will be, but I was thinking about actually someone who used to be Imperial officer. I think he was sent on an assignment to infiltrate the rebellion, and he succeeded. And then he actually had a change of heart. But because he was sent here, his issue will be that he tries to make people accept him as a rebel, because everyone still is like, your past, not sure if we trust you, and so on. And that will be his gem. He will probably react, I wouldn't say violently physically, but violently, like he might go into like shouting that, oh, in the Imperium everything is good because there's no rebel scum, stuff like that. So but yeah, his issue will be like he still is not sure like which side he should be on. He's dedicated to be a rebel, but those people don't really accept him so openly because of his past. I'm not sure. What do you guys think of this? Does it fit our concept or not?
I like it, but my one concern, I just want to make sure that we're covered with, if people don't trust you so much to really be a big part of the rebel cell, does that mean you don't go on missions? That you're just on the ship?
It means I go on the missions, but maybe that they don't want to like tell me like where the Rebel Alliance base is. That's why we are here, and the cargo loader pilot, he doesn't tell me who he's going to meet, but I go with the mission on him. Kind of like I'm thinking about this like I'm there because the command says, yeah, take him. He's like he will provide you with the good intel, and he can go unnoticed, and he has like a legit papers. But not like fully trust. Is it like doable? Do you think?
I think it's doable. Let's I'm gonna screen share again, just kind of walk you guys through some example issues from the book. I know at least one of you guys have the book, but just to help out, I think it helps. So some pretty broad and common issues that protagonists, which is your PC, anger could be an issue that you deal with, anxiety, doubt, guilt, grief, or self-criticism. So, Pavel, what you're talking about is kind of like there are two issues going on, right? There's the external of do people trust you, but it feels like your character is also a little unsure. So doubt seems like
I think I was thinking mostly about doubt when looking over here.
Cool.
Also, the alternative concept would be like to play the Wookiee and have the anger problem because maybe they used to be a slave or something.
Oh God,
but
it's good. That's really good.
Okay.
I was actually. Oh, good.
What were you going to say?
No, just finish.
Well, if you don't want to play the Wookiee, I will probably play the Wookiee. So we don't have to fight over it. I'm totally cool with you playing the Wookiee.
I'm more like into do you guys think we can make this like spy with a change of heart concept, or doesn't it fit? Because you mentioned that we should all be on the same side. So like I'm saying, he's on the rebel side, but maybe at some point he will have to like maybe he still has like the secret communicator that he didn't destroy. That I don't know, he isn't sure what he should do with it because he was sent with you to infiltrate you guys, but then he saw all these bad things that nobody told him about. We rescued people from some prison camps and other stuff, and he saw that the rebellion, the Imperium isn't as good as they say. So,
what if you're still a spy and we don't know it, right? But you're in the process of changing your, like right now, like this show's about your protagonist's change of heart because now he's like, you're sent to spy on the rebels and you're like going, oh wait, these guys are actually right. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I like that, yeah, because we get more dramatic reveals and more interactions between the characters that way, I think.
Okay, yeah. That would be really cool. I have to then figure out what will be my impulses then if I'm still a spy.
Okay, cool. Alejandro, do you have any? You mentioned you wanted to be like the second in command on the security team. Do you have a species in? I guess I just go look. I'm terrible that way. Do you have an issue in mind that your security, your second in command? We'll have to come up with a title for them.
I call them the security second, but I'm sure there's a vastly better term that exists that is probably at the top of all of our minds. I don't know what species. I want him. I don't want him to be human, and I want him to be cool looking because that's important in Star Wars. But a lot of the species, like, are either cool looking and dumb, or they're just not exciting. There's not a good confluence or connection between how cool they look and how cool they can be, and maybe that's just because I don't know them well enough. As far as an issue goes, I was thinking kind of along the lines of Starkiller. Are you familiar with Starkiller? I'm sure you're familiar with Starkiller. I'm not. I just know a little bit of Starkiller is just like a cross between Han Solo and Luke Skywalker is my understanding of him. And so yeah, this kind of brash, young, verging on whiny type of, Han Solo type, So his issue, can you bring up that issue page again?
You bet. And I may just screen cap it and stick it in there as a background.
I'm not really sure, like, which, like, none of those really.
They're just suggestions. They're not. These are the only things you can pick from. Ideas.
So, I'm thinking along the lines of like brash and impulsive, just like okay, so like trying to prove himself, kind of his issues, trying to prove himself, and but I don't know, like,
to whom? To whom is he trying to? Or I heard you use the male gender. I'm not prescribing. You can make your character whatever you want.
Yeah.
Who are they trying to prove themselves to?
Maybe to the rebellion, to the rebels.
Okay.
But also to himself, like, yeah, to himself, I guess.
And what's driving that need for approval? Is it a sense of grief at what they've lost and they want to join the rebellion to strike back? Is it anxiety about
doubt? I guess it would be doubt. Like, just
okay.
He doubts his own capabilities then.
Doubts his own capabilities, or it could even be anxiety that you wouldn't be accepted. Like, or it can be something wholly new. I'm just trying to fold stuff back in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, doubt and anxiety, as far as this character goes, are kind of both. I was reading the doubt and anxiety. You just scrolled up.
Oh yeah, I was just. I remember there was a thing about, can two protagonists have the same issue, and I wanted to review it. And for issues, yes. Impulses, no. So if two people want to have doubt, that's possible. That's an interesting double up.
If I can ask you, Rich, because I'm really curious how we should roleplay impulses. Because I know that impulses are forced upon us depending from the roll result, and I'm just trying to think how some of the impulses would really come up. For example, like the impulse of I don't know, dishonest or manipulative, because it's really easy for me to understand how aggressive or ruthless person should react. I would just, I don't know, maybe strike someone or hold them and try to, like, shout at them right in their face. But I'm not really sure how impulse of being dishonest or manipulative can come as a result and influence the scene somehow.
I think that's a fair concern. It is pretty broad. We just got to make sure that we shape our conflicts to where that kind of impulse is dramatic and also problematic as a response. So we just got to keep our eye towards, okay, this is your impulse. Let's make sure that we shape our conflicts, and then I try to build scenes that angle towards that.
Okay.
I'm going to go with anxiety. He's in constant fear of losing his job or his role position with the with both Bando and, well, losing his job would be Bando, or his role with the rebellion. Like, he's really trying to prove himself to the rebellion, which I'm sure they've already go, okay, yeah, you got it, you're in, but he still is always anxious that he's going to screw this up.
Holy crap, I've uploaded more than I'm supposed to Roll20. Oh, that's not good. Oh crap, what am I gonna do? I mean, I've got a lot of really old stuff, so I know I can delete them, but I just didn't realize that I was near that. That's what happens when you play this game for so long. I like that. That's a good issue. Let's hit that. See if I can upload now. I don't know if it's size based or if it's number of images based. I do have a lot of stuff on Roll20. Oops.
Yeah. I also have other photos, but it never notifies me that I have too much. I think there was only a limit of how much you can upload at once, not like in general, but maybe that's changed. Anyway, Joshua, what's your idea of the Wookiee? I'm really curious.
Yeah.
I had a similar thought to what you did, where the Wookiee is definitely from Kashyyyk and was enslaved by the Empire for a while, and that's how he got to be a member of the rebellion. We could even go so far as to say he has a life debt to the rebellion in general, so to speak. But he's been undercover as this lead performer for this group for so long, and he's really become to love it, and he thinks that this is like his, like what he was meant to do, is be a performer. And so now he's torn between serving the rebellion, which is what he feels like the right thing to do is, and like pursuing his own life of and being happy, essentially, of being a performer and traveling around and doing what he feels like he was made to do.
Oh, so he's torn. Like he's got this life debt, and they keep pulling him back in. But he really enjoys being an entertainer, but knows in his heart of hearts that, of course, like he's never going to truly be able to go to the core worlds and sing when he's a slave race kind of stuff. Oh, that's good. That's juicy. That's really, really good.
Yeah, I kind of wanted
his life debt is
like,
to Bondo? Is that what you said?
No, to the rebellion in general, I think.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if it was a life debt to Bondo, Bondo would be so, I can see him totally milking that and just totally like using that to his advantage or whatever. But he can do that he can even do that like through the like use the rebellion as a means to totally manipulate your character.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. The issue I was thinking of was guilt, because he feels guilty that he wants to live his own life, even though he...
Dude, that's great. Yeah,
Okay.
it's guilt all around, right? Guilt of living his own life, guilt that he owes the rebellion, guilt that his whole species is... Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Okay,
nice
cool.
choice.
I think his name is Raraubuk, but he just goes by Rook. It's easier to say. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, what's his race? But we were totally talking about a Wookiee. I totally know.
Oh, gotcha.
So we've got a person that's kind of riding the line, officially part of the rebellion, but might be a turncoat. We've got a Wookiee that really would rather live life as a civilian, but isn't allowed. That's like really good. This is good stuff, guys. Anybody having problems? Impulse, let's talk about that. I was quickly deleting some images files so that... Okay, so when your issue gets the best of you, your impulse might make you, and this is just a few examples, but I'll drop it into chat. This is what the game has as suggestions. You might be abrasive, aggressive, childish, closed off, compulsive, controlling. It's a little bit of your like darkest self, right? It's how you react to things in negatively when things don't go your way.
Okay, I'm sorry. What did you say about Brash? Just because I was trying to get the picture into the picture I found into the my character thing, and it disappeared.
Oh, that sucks. Who was talking about Brash?
I thought you did.
Oh,
No, if you didn't, then I don't worry about it.
I was just talking about impulses, which is how when your issue is challenged, the impulse is how you react to it. Are you abrasive, aggressive? Do you act childish, controlling? I've dropped it into the chat here on our video window. That's another part of character creation that you
my thing just totally disappeared. I had to reload roll 20, and everything I was creating for my character just disappeared. So
that sucks.
So if anything loaded underneath the welcome to roll 20, all of that disappeared.
Try to scroll up because chat is persistent in roll 20 actually.
Yeah. Oh well, okay. Yeah, the stuff that you wrote is there. Okay.
Yeah, because chat is actually persistent in roll 20, which is nice to make like a notes about NPCs and stuff because it doesn't vanish after the call is done.
Yes, I do really like that about roll 20.
PTA. Okay. Let's now try to just cut some pieces of this picture. Yeah, not too much.
All right, I am going to take a break from deleting a bunch of photos to come check in. So we have Rook. You got your issue and concept. Your concept, your issue. What do you think Rook has for an impulse?
I think he's timid. Just because of his slave background and because of all the guilt he feels, I think that kind of makes sense for him to just be
super interesting for a Wookiee too. Nice.
Yeah.
Way to challenge. Like my assumption would have been, oh, he's got rage issues. So thank you for. That's really cool.
He can always rage when he resists his impulse, I guess.
Right. He certainly can. That's really good. I like that a lot. Let's see. Who do we have? Oh, we got. Oh, cool picture. I really like that guy. Really, really like that guy. Reckless. Imperial spy during the process. Change of heart. You can see the Empire's evil side. I love it. This is good. I really think we need to have like a passenger that's super Imperial, like make the Empire great again, kind of.
Yeah, definitely.
He can challenge you a little bit there.
That's actually a very cool idea.
Oh, I thank you. I have them.
Imran.
Oh my goodness, I did not know how many good Wookiee pictures there are on Pinterest.
Isn't it crazy? How did there so many Wookiees happen? How's it coming, Alejandro? Were you able to recover?
I just had to. It wasn't too complex, so I was able to just rewrite what I wrote. I didn't do my impulse. I don't know what my impulse should be.
There's a list of them that I put in the chat at 10:37.
I don't have. Yeah, that I have what Pavel wrote, but I don't have anything else in the chat.
Let me put it back in there for you.
Oh, yeah, check the Hangout chat. Rich put it in the Hangout chat.
I did, but I just dropped it into the Roll20 chat because that's what it was sent.
And how many impulses we should have? Is there a limit? Is there a suggestion?
You should really just have one, but if you've got a couple, that's okay.
Yeah.
If you just have one, then I know where to push, and it's easier for me.
Yeah, I kind of want to go with Reckless and Dishonest because I think Dishonest is like really a must-have for a spy. But Reckless, I think, yeah, I like characters with anger management issues. He might try to like punch someone when things doesn't go his way because back in the Empire, when he was the officer, everyone would do what he wants, and here they don't. And also, I think that I'll be playing the Reckless pilot because I think it's fun. So like Neil was trained to be the TIE fighter pilot, but then he was recruited into the ISB and then sent on the secret mission, and he like would really like to be just the pilot again, maybe. So yeah, Neil Mao, ship's pilot.
So he's the pilot on the bridge, like he's the ship's pilot.
Yeah. So I'm taking the slot of this Reckless pilot who hangs in this like kind of like a anti-grav chair and steers this ship. But I think when ship is docked, he will have the freedom to move somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also that gives me the opportunity that maybe we'll have a dogfight scene, which would be really cool because.
I'm totally seeing like the Lego movie, like spaceship. I get to fly now. Cool. The next thing that we're gonna work on. I don't want to rush anybody, but I do want to rush you. Is that we're gonna work on screen presence. So this is a little simpler, because we only have 3 issues. So we're doing pilot, which everybody has screen presence of 2 for this session. The next 3, this is one of my favorite parts of Primetime Adventures. Screen presence is not only a mechanic, it's also a really cool way to help us understand what's this episode about. So you all will have a 1, a 2, and a 3 to set into to kind of lock down your screen presence for that particular episode. And my recommendation is that you guys chat, because if you have a 3, it is your spotlight episode. And so it's where we're going to try to really push on your issue and either bring it to some kind of resolution so you come up with a new issue, or we evolve it a little bit. Like, so it's all about you. This is the episode where Geordi is down on the planet dealing with his blindness. This is the issue where Bashir is confronted by his dark past and has to come to some kind of resolution. And mechanically, what it means is every time you go into a conflict, you have 3 cards that you're pulling. So it means you have a much higher chance of getting what you want in particular scenes. So you've got 2, 3, and 4 episodes, 1, 2, and 3 screen presences to put forth. So you could go like 1, 2, 3. You could go 1, 3, 2, or 3, 2, 1, that kind of thing. You guys will need to work that out. And if you want to roll dice to see who gets episode 4 as their spotlight, or who has to have episode 2 as their spotlight, it's fine. You guys resolve it however you wish. We'll try to be egalitarian here. That makes sense? The screen presence? It's super fun.
Who wants to be the number 3? 3 is the max, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Who does anybody want to be? I don't. But does anybody want to be number 3 today?
There is no number 3
today. Everybody's 2 today.
Oh.
So we're talking about episodes 2, 3, and 4.
I was thinking about going 2, 3, 1. So my spotlight episode will be the third one. But I wanted to ask Rich, have you resolved the issue with you traveling? And are we playing? Are you sure that we're gonna play all the sessions? Because you sent in the email information that you might travel and.
Thank you for asking that. I meant to update you guys. I have my flight. I come back on Friday evening, so there will be no interruption in our game sessions.
Okay.
Yeah, I was pretty
perfect.
excited.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So yeah, I was saying I'm really interested in having like 2, 3, 1, so that I'll be the least important in the last episode and the spotlight for in the third one.
There's 4 episodes. We're playing 4 games, right?
Yes.
4 sessions. But only 3 of us will be able to get the spotlight because
Correct.
there's another person coming in next week, right?
Yep. So Horst will be joining us for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. He'll always be a supporting character. The game is supposed to be 5 sessions or more so everybody has the ability within a regular group. It's just one of the concessions I've had to make to kind of squeeze it in 1 month.
Okay.
You guys are my proof of concept. Once we make this work, then I'll start doing like 5 session and 9 sessions. I'm going to go all out. But for now, just gonna do this. Okay, so Pavel is 231, which means his spotlight is the 3rd issue of our mini series. So, Josh, Alejandro, how do you guys want to work this out? Who gets spotlight in the 2nd episode? Who gets it in the last?
Alejandro, did you say you didn't want it in the 2nd episode?
Or
were you saying you didn't want it?
I didn't want it in the 1st episode before I understood.
Gotcha. Do you have a preference? I don't know that I do, but
no, I don't want to be 2nd, but I don't know if I want to be 4th. So I would rather not be 2nd, so I guess I'd do 4th. So
okay, that's totally cool with me. I think the Wookiee plotline stuff could be a nice kind of kickoff, I guess.
Okay, sounds good.
So we start with a performance and see how that goes.
So I'll do 2, 1, 3. 2, 1, 3. Yeah.
Josh, I would recommend you go 3, 2, 1.
All right, I like it.
All right, I'm locking it in, my friends. All right, so we will go. So Nil Mal. And we have Rororuk. So cool. That name just tickles me.
Where do you put the name?
Cool. So to put the name
above concept.
Nice picture. I really like that pic. So you need to do here is you want to edit right here.
Yeah.
And then on the bio and info, the name is right there. So you just put it right there. And then you save changes and it'll show up for us.
Okay. I don't have a name yet, but
okay. Okay, next step in character creation. You guys are nearly done. is you got your issue and impulse. Those are the big parts. Screen presence, we just finished up. Traits. Traits define what's special about your character, your protagonist, and they are not rated by a score. You either have a trait or you don't. They can be as broad or as narrow as you like, but the other players have to approve them. There are generally two types of traits, edges and connections. During an episode, you can use those traits to get extra cards, improving the chances for you to influence the outcome of a scene. Edges are a package of abilities, and then connections are your relationships with other people on the show. And so the next question, of course, is like, how many do you get? And I'm just going to make sure that I am correct in my numbers. I think it's 2 and 1, but let me double check.
I think you get one in each, and then one and then one in whichever one you want.
Yeah. So, yeah.
At least one in each.
Yeah, you have to have at least one in each. So you start one edge and one connection, then one more that can be of either type. So 2 and 1. Not 2 in 1, but 2 and 1.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to write my edge as Imperial Starfighter pilot. I'm not sure if it isn't connecting too much in one, because I kind of know how to deal with the Imperium, and I'm also a Starfighter pilot. But that's what his background is.
I don't have any objection to that. I think it's not so broad.
Cool.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I wanted to write a connection to Captain Bondo, because as a ship's pilot, I interact with him a lot, and he's also this like very weird thing to me, because he supports them, but then he makes money on every turn. He transports the Imperial cargo. What's his deal? It would be a nice scene. And then I thought that maybe it would be cool to have like a girl that he really likes, and she's like the hardcore rebel at heart, totally.
Oh, she can't be human then. I think she needs to be non-human.
Oh yeah, at Twi'lek then.
Oh, okay, there we go.
I was just thinking, should she be also the performer squad or the ship's mechanic? Because I think she also likes to fly and drive stuff very fast. That's why we kind of like bonded on this, like, maybe we once raced the starfighters together, and that's how we bonded. But then she's also like a true rebel at heart. And the preference, a mechanic squad or a performer squad?
I like them both, but I think the performer would be cool, because then I would know her as well.
Yeah, I felt exactly about the performer would fit much better.
Hot. Okay, so we've got a Twi'lek performer. I think she's like one of your backup dancers, Rook.
How to write a Twi'lek? I have to check.
TWI''LEK.
Yeah.
I am a nerd. Okay. Good. Oh, that name is cool. How do you say it, Alejandro?
Asil. I'm sorry, Isil.
Isil?
Yeah. Isil Maish.
I really like that last name. That is super cool.
So we can have 2 edges and 1 connection, or 1 edge and 2 connections?
Correct. So I'm now going to jump over to my species names and try to work on the Twi'lek female.
I already named her Mia.
Oh, well,
Unless
there we
wanna
go.
have something
Thank you.
super
You saved me
Twi'lek-y.
some efforts. Joshua, you're going to say something.
I think the Wookiee has to have an edge for brawling and destroying things. I don't know what to call it, but maybe just destructive or brawler or something like that.
Yeah, I think people would be angry if I suggested Wookiee Foo, so I won't.
Well, the edge of Wookiee is fine with me.
Yep, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, I decided that we need a Twi'lek name. It's An-Ani for the Twi'lek.
Did you stick that in your connections? Because I just see Captain Bondo right now.
Yeah, I posted this in the Roll20 chat.
Oh, okay. Yay, Roll20 chat.
An-Ani.
Anani. I like it.
Yeah, we need these weird names as well.
Yeah, we
So-
need more apostrophes.
Rich, does it make more sense to have connections with PCs or NPCs? Do you think it matter?
I recommend connections with NPCs.
Okay.
I don't think it's even possible to have a connection with a PC.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense. We're already connected, I guess.
Yeah, we should have some idea of what connects us, and we are all this like rebel squad.
So for my edges, I put untrained force user, and I want to. He's a fighter, like he's just like a general use soldier type. So would soldier work, or is that too broad?
Soldier's great.
Okay. Can I put revolutionary soldier or just soldier?
Prefer rebel over revolutionary, but yeah. Just trying to tie us back to the brand.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking revolutionary, but that's fine. Yeah.
Or are you trying to think of like ways to do things weird and in unique ways? That's interesting. You can still be a rebellious soldier.
Yeah. No, but that's fine. Rebel soldier's fine. And then as far as connections, I was thinking he would have a connection to the loader pilot.
Yeah.
But I have no idea of what that means at this point. Like for him. Or who that is. And did we do personal set?
We haven't. Okay.
Okay.
I was doing personal set, and I believe that is all for your characters. Yep. Personal set. Good. So personal sets, locations on TV shows are tied to a specific character. Often the set might be a character's office, home, might be a favorite hangout, might be a place in the character's imagination.
Yeah.
And so you have personal sets, which help you to develop into a more complex character. They can also be shared by one or more, even all of the protagonists. It's an environment that gives the audience cues about something important going on. When a player brings in their personal set, everyone else in the game goes, oh, well, we better focus on this. Let's see. So, yeah. Any thoughts on personal set?
Well, you wanted the garden, so I picked the garden with a space window.
Yes.
Are you okay, Paul, with me having my connection be the gardener? Because I think Rook goes to the garden a lot since it reminds him of Kashyyyk.
Sure.
Okay. Just wanted to put that out there.
Of course. The more places we can meet each other, the better.
Perfect.
Are you okay if the gardener is, and this is just selfishly because I like doing their voice, the Anathorian?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Cool.
I think that makes a lot of sense, actually. I like that.
Yay! I've got an Ithorian gardener. I'm changing the cast list. Updating the gardener as Ithorian. And I'm going to look on my cheat sheet for names and find a name for them.
Are you okay with my personal set being just the stage, even though it could be a different spot if we're on planet, whether or versus on the ship? Or is that too broad?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. Maybe I could bring a lot of like equipment and make it look the same every time, you know?
Yeah,
Lots of
I
set
was just
decorations.
about to suggest that to suggest that you guys bring your own set with you. That's why it's like you feel at home whenever it goes.
I see him bringing like potted palm trees and stuff like that. And kind of sets it up. I was thinking my personal set is the cockpit of a fighter. Like,
wow,
like his
awesome. You could be
fighter.
out flying around all the time. That's hot. I love it.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think it's not an X-wing. It's not a TIE. It's not a TIE. It's not an X-wing. Maybe it's like an. Do you think it is a? Sorry, words are escaping me. Clone Wars kind of era ship that they've just kept reconditioning. Do you think it's like a newer starfighter that's fidgety? Like, what are you thinking about this particular?
I think that I would see it being like an older ship that Bondo keeps upgrading or not upgrading, maintaining and making it look really good, but it may not be like it's not really kept up, like I'm the one who has to kind of keep it running or something like that. Like it's really pretty, but beyond that, like it's almost intimidating looking, but no.
I am going to throw out. What do you think about this? I'll screen share. It's called an ARC, an arc fighter. Looks like this.
Okay. Yeah.
Now I just want to make sure you're cool with it because it actually is it's a 2-seater if you want, and it can even take a droid if you wanted to have a droid for astrogation purposes. It's ARC 170 starfighter.
Yeah, that's good. Does it have to be a 2-seater?
No, we can say it's an ARC that's been modified for a 1-seater during mini upgrades. Sounds good to me.
Would you be cool with it?
Number ARC 170, modified ARC 170.
How would you feel about the co-pilot just being a droid, and we can kind of tie in the droid mechanic if we want? Or is that?
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
I like that. And this just, when we say that it's a modified, so it's now a 1-seater, there's still a second seat. You just basically, they store crap there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's like the like in your garage you've got the treadmill, but now it's basically a place you use as
exactly.
like a giant coat hanger thing. Yeah, hot, love it. Oh, it's a nice pick of the ARC 170. Good. So we've got personal sets for everyone.
So the personal pet, I put cockpit of his vaguely modified ARC 170.
Love it. Gardens. So we've got oh, this is good. I really like these personal sets, you guys. Great work. Make sure I've got all my edges or the connections, the loader pilot. We need to give a species and name to our loader pilot. The Ithorian's name is I think I'm putting in Saltokrana. Saldi, I think. I'm gonna give him a short name, so Saldi.
That's the loader?
That is the gardener. Sorry. I jumped back and didn't keep anybody up. We need to come up with a cargo loader pilot species and name.
Sure. Oh gosh, what are they called? The Soliston.
You like Soliston? I mean, it's your connection, so I want to make sure, Alejandro, you're good with it.
Yeah, good point.
I don't know what the Soliston. Oh,
remember
no.
Lando's co-pilot in the Millennium Falcon was a Soliston.
I was picturing somebody that's more kind of big and brutish and not somebody you'd expect to be a contact. Whereas I think a Soliston is Aren't most Sultans in the rebellion, and they're kind of known for that or something? I don't know.
So if you want to go crazy, it could be like a Trandoshan.
Okay, is this
There's the big lizard dude, like Bosk. I mean, they normally work for the Empire as like bounty hunters and stuff, so that could be crazy.
Oh, and they're really strong.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yes.
Yeah, and he hates,
do my Trandoshan voice. Yes.
And he hates Rook.
Yes. I think there's definitely some like animosity there.
So the rebel cell leader hates one of the rebel members. I love it.
I like the name Nacht.
Nacht? Okay. There we go.
It's under the tradition name Nachkt. I don't know, but it doesn't matter.
I like it. That is the name. I have updated those characters in the cast list. We'll probably need to be renaming some of these folks as we go, but we have our series ready to go. We have an hour left in our allotted time. So this is our pilot. I definitely want to get some play on the board. So here is what we're going to lead off with. Oh, damn it. We haven't even named the ship. All right, hold on. I need to name the ship.
I like, I generated some names, and I like something like STS Archmage. STS standing for Space Transportation System.
These bubbling in people's brains and sounding awesome. The Archmage is kind of amazing, especially since we have a hidden Jedi passenger. You guys want anyone objecting to STS Archmage or want to keep thinking? Because generators can go for days and days. So
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, that's it. So we start off our series. I'm trying to speed this up. We start off our series, and it's similar to Rogue One. We don't have the crawl. Right? It's our pilot, and it says Star Wars Archmage. And we start off with the freighter, and it's this huge bulk. It's obvious that you can see the garden dome is like on one side, and it's kind of an observatory dome, and you can still see the green from space. And we're coming out of hyperspace, and as soon as we do, we see a couple of the small starfighters kind of come out of the ship, and then the huge loader is dropping out. And imagine the loader is the Trandoshans, and it's a big boxy thing. It's like a box with engines on the back type deal. It's not a very beautiful ship. It is really meant to maximize the amount of cargo capacity. And you guys come, and we see two suns, and we see this desert planet that is being brought down, and you guys are headed towards Mos Eisley. And the first thing that we see is the cargo pilot, whose name is Rocht. Let me look at that again to make sure I'm saying the name correctly. So we see Lieutenant Nacht, and our fixer, who's the person who sets up things for you guys, I think is a Rhodian, because I'm just that typical. And it is Nakub Tami. And Nakub is on and says, okay, guys, we need to get in. We need to get in quick. There are a bunch of people who have grabbed all of Jabba's stuff, because you guys know that the hut was taken down by some nefarious individuals, and they are trying to get everything off planet. There's an Imperial blockade that's supposedly coming because the Hutt cartel is really upset. So we need to get in. We need to grab all the stuff that we can. I've got a couple of contacts for you guys, but you may have to work fast. And then Bondo comes on. I imagine Bondo's got like this big bushy mustache that kind of comes down and around, because we're Star Wars, like that era, so facial hair is a thing. But he's got the naked chin going on, right? He's got this prominent, like they got the cleft chin kind of going on. Maybe it's like a Bruce Campbell character. Bruce Campbell, the actor, is playing. It says, "Now, keep yourself safe, but don't forget, any opportunity you can to make profit, you should absolutely pursue." And then he winks out. And then you guys are coming down. So we are establishing shots. First time we get to see people. So the Trandoshan he needs an escort. So of course he's got a pilot that is coming in with. So I assume that Lieutenant Noct will say, "I'm sorry, you said it before, but I didn't write Isel." Is that right?
Yeah, Isel Maish.
Okay, so he's just going to call you Isel. Isel, you on my 6?
Yeah, whatever the proper term is. Yes.
Cool. And so what does it look like when we have our first shot of Mysel Maish? What is like the look? What they wear? Like, what's their jumpsuit look like? What's the interior? Because it was their personal set, right? So I want to get an idea, a little bit of care for what the internals of that cockpit looks like.
So the ship kind of comes into view, and the camera just starts zooming in on the ship, and then onto the cockpit, and then inside of the cockpit. The ship is vaguely modified such that the guns and cannons on it are oversized and really like they look like heavy, like far more. They're just like really way overdone, but it's still the same cannons, but it just looks really fucking intimidating.
Yes.
But it's still, the same. And then it comes into so there's the picture I picked, that's a Bothan, right?
It is.
Yeah. Okay. So it comes into, like into the cockpit. And yeah, it's totally homey in there. There's like a little picture on the side of the Bothan homeworld, which I have no idea what that looks like. There's another picture like just kind of clipped to the other side, and there's some pictures of like family members and stuff like that. It totally has like dice hanging from some like imposed hook, literally in homage to Han Solo. Yeah, there's he's wearing like a leather jacket. He's kind of dressed like I don't remember which movie he was. It was just like this brown leather pilot's type jacket, right? And he's got a headpiece because inside it doesn't the comm doesn't work inside. He has to use it with the headpiece, kind of like what Rook's player is wearing right now.
Nice.
And then there's just like little rags and like a little steaming cup of soup, just like right there. And when he eventually gets out of the thing, you'll see that there's like cushions at the bottom holding him up because their Bothans are shorter than most, and so it's kind of like, yeah. It like really looks like a diesel truck that the ones that diesel drivers like live in. It kind of looks like that. And he's actually like, I'm on your, as I like the transports here, and the ARC 170 just kind of comes around it, like just kind of doing this kind of neat little trick shot, whatever, but not too clever. He's like scooping in some, like taking some, like looks almost like chicken noodle soup type thing.
Oh, that's really cool. Awesome. So we get that establishing shot. We get a really good idea of what ISIL's about. We come back and we hear a little bit of music, but it isn't like full. It's almost like band rehearsal stuff going on. And we see a few of the performers and the Twi'lek. We have just a brief shot of her. You know, again, name Ani she's got one leg like way up high, like a standing split kind of thing. She's stretching and got her leg up against the bulkhead, and that's when we now get to see our favorite Wookiee singer. What is it that we see from you?
Wait, before you go there, my shot ends in me listening to them practicing. Like that's
great. That's a really good tie through. Yeah, the first thing we hear a little bit of that music, and then we come back, and maybe we hear like a the weird kind of jazzy flute thing going on. And
Love it.
Yeah, we have the performer troupe. I mean, we have like one person that's like juggling something, and then we see our Wookiees. What do we see of him?
So Ruralruk is very well kempt for a Wookiee. Like his facial hair is all brushed and combed, and he has several braids coming down from the top, like 2 here braids, and then multiple braids in like the beard area. Definitely like some piercings around the nose. You know, silver, very very ornamental and tasteful. You know, not gaudy or anything. And then he's got a nice like tunic on as well, but then a little bit of the kind of like his brand is a little bit more of the aggressive singer. So he's got 2 of the bandoliers coming over the like really nice, almost like dress tunic, but then the bandoliers to kind of demonstrate his pride for the Wookiees. And I think since Wookiees have trouble pronouncing Galactic Basic and stuff like that, all of the songs that he sings are translations of well-known songs into Wookiee. So it's the same melody, you know, but the words are just wonderful. These like growling melodies, and he always adds his own little twist on them. So he's rehearsing as you see these 4 giant like fake palm tree looking plants potted in there, and then a bunch of boxes and things wrapped up of the set.
I love that affectation for your set. It's so great. It's really good.
Yeah, I stole that from Alejandro. I love that idea. So those 4 palm trees are going to be a key part of the set for sure.
Sweet. And so I think we have our first very brief interaction with Anani, and she says, Rook, if we're racing down here, are we even going to be able to set up? I mean, there is a nice cantina here that I would love to play.
Well, Ani, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, Ani, I had the greatest idea. We're going to step off the ship and just perform in the middle of the spaceport. It's going to be perfect. We don't have time, like you said, so we're just gonna make it happen, like the good old days, performing on the street.
Nice. Now, when we see Rook speaking, he speaks in Wookiee, and then we just kind of follow along with subtitles, or does he have a voice? Like I've actually seen in some of the expanded universe that there was a Wookiee that had like a Dr. Theopolis fucking thing, like little voice box thing.
Mm-hmm.
Totally, whatever you want. I want to know what you like.
I think aesthetically, I prefer the Wookiee voice.
Nice.
And just people understand the Wookiee, and then we see the subtitles.
Not Tweaky from Buck Rogers.
Yeah, I just rolled out the Dr. Theopolis on you, man. We're on the same page. Awesome. So yeah, we do a whole lot of like yellow letterbox or yellow subtitle stuff for whenever the Wookiee speaks. That sounds awesome. And then Ani, there's like this longing look as she glances over at our last introduction of our last cast member here, Nil Mao. And Yeah, you're here. You're on this ship because we want you to be part of this ship, right? So, what do we see with No Mao?
Yeah, I think Neil is sitting there. He has like a dark, slightly longer hair, not very well maintained. Every hair is going in different direction. He like tries to like he tries to have his hair in some kind of like a almost like a samurai's a one tail, but it's like going in all the directions anyway. He thinks it changes it that all the hair changed his appearance in enough that he doesn't look like an imperial officer anymore. At least he hopes so, because they all have like well-maintained hair and everything. And his uniform is like, it's obvious that he doesn't pay too much attention to his uniform, but it's also clear that he has everything when he wants them it to be. So like a pen in the pocket on the chest, some kind of like a, I'm not sure if there's a reason for a gas mask, but maybe there is like some pipe of some air going somewhere so that we see it. Yeah, and he sees them almost to the last moment before the captain yells on the loudspeaker like, "Neil, we need you on the bridge. Someone needs to dock the ship."
Wait, are you imagining that Neil isn't on the cargo ship then? Do you want to, like, I'm totally cool. It can be either place. You could either be on the cargo loader,
Yeah.
or you can be flying the ship, which is like, would make the most logical sense. But it's a TV show, so we can, I mean, shit, the Captain Picard went down to the planet constantly. So whatever we want, where do you want to be?
I thought that we are still on the ship, at least some of us.
You could totally be on the ship. That's fine.
Yeah, I think since I picked the ship's pilot, not sure if it's a good choice, but anyway. Yeah, I need to like to dock the ship first, and then I can go down to the planet. So yeah, so maybe we actually see him like waving farewell to the starting loader, and we see Anani just waving back from the like loader window, and then he goes back to the bridge where we see him like jump into this like big, almost hovering chair, but the chair is actually attached to the ceiling, so that it only looks like it's hovering. And then we have like an external shot from the ship made to look that the ship is like really flying super fast, but only because the camera is in one place, and then the camera starts moving, and we see that the ship is actually trying to like decelerate, not to hit the space station docking point, and then like do some like a slightly too stronger turn so that everyone is like, we see some boxes in the cargo like fall off or something. And Captain shouts like, "Neil, what are you doing? You're crying my cargo." "Captain, I told you we need to fix those decelerators because they are completely broken. I'm doing what I can."
Bondo's like,
but the fact is, he just really wanted to like speed here very, very fast and then decelerate too fast.
Yeah, and of course he's like mumbling, and then of course he's going to be talking with our head mechanic, the bureaucratic, credit pinching, gentle person who tracks everything. So I am going to show. We have like this matte painting backdrop of Mos Eisley with some superimposed CGI elements to make it look nice and lively. And as you guys can see, Mos Eisley has a lot of like these circular hangar bays that are haphazardly, like this place grew and fits and starts, and they do have these major lanes and avenues, but there are all these pockets of weirdness. And then this is the main kind of control tower. So we start off with the Trandoshan, and we like zoom in on the Trandoshan, who is your pilot, and he has specifically modified things because the Trandoshans, they have like they got like 4 fingers on each hand, and they're like these big, slightly clumsy fingers. Their digits are not super fine. Motor control is not great but Lieutenant Locke has everything kind of modified, larger buttons and everything like that, and he brings the cargo loader down. And I imagine again, it's like almost like a sand crawler that flies is kind of the image I have of this thing. and the butt opens up into a big gangway, and the first group that spills out is the entertainment group, and we've got a couple of we'll go with like Celestin, who are like quickly setting up the palm trees and trying to scuttle off to the side. And it's one of those central. So there's no main spaceport the way that Mos Eisley is set up. You just kind of land in different parts of the city. So imagine they go slightly outside of the circular hangar area, and they're trying to set up the palm trees so the people who are moving back and forth near the bazaar are able to be entertained. And yeah, so we've got the ARC 170. Where do you land her? Do you land like right beside the cargo loader, or what is it that you do, Isel, with your ship?
Yeah, I take a quick tour around the city, just getting an eye, cursory search for any trouble, and then kind of come after. What's the loader called?
I was just calling it the loader. We definitely need to give her a name.
Once the loader settles and people are starting to come out, then I land, and then I like as people are starting to come out, I land and disembark. I get out and hop out and help do whatever manual labor is required of me to help. I actually do my best to help Rook out as much as possible. Like I'm like almost like a second roadie, like a secondary roadie or tertiary roadie, just kind of helping out. I'm almost a little bit more trouble than it's worth, but you think it's cute and you tolerate me or whatever.
Awesome. Sweet. So that was our establishing shot that kind of got everybody wrapped in. Now we're going to, in the remaining half hour that we have, we're going to try to get through a couple of scenes. I'm not married to staying on Mos Eisley any more than is interesting. But the way that this now will work is we kind of do scenes in rounds. And so we start off with a character who feels comfy working through the process of setting up a new scene first. Wants to be a first guinea pig. It's a lot of
I'm fine with it.
Okay, so Josh, let us talk about Rook. So what we need to decide first is this a character scene or is it a plot scene? Character scene means we're going to try to frame things around your issue. A plot scene means that we are just kind of moving plot forward, but we'll still have business going on.
I kind of like the idea of it being a plot scene. I'm not sure how to make that happen, but
that's no problem. Awesome. So we'll just start with that. It's a plot scene. So we need to choose our scene ingredients. The player chooses what characters, location, and action is going
on. So definitely Aesel and Rook and the Twi'lek.
Sweet.
And
okay, so
can we mix the pilot in there too, the Trandoshan Noct?
You bet.
Give us some good drama, I think.
Okay, sweet. And so other players can spin so that's what you framed. We currently have which PCs? We have Aesel and we have you. So Nilmal is not assumed to be in the scene. However, if you wanted to, you can kind of narrate yourself in. Normally it takes fan mail to join the scene. Now, I am going to, this was work to, so then the producer will play supporting characters, which means I have An-Ani and Lieutenant Noct, who of course calls himself Captain Noct when he's not around the rest of the crew. And then we'll play through it. So it's plot. It's about you guys setting up. It's about the getting things going. And Noct is involved right now because he's waiting for communique to like, he's got to stay by the ship because there's a chance you may have to just like take off. And like Nilmal is framed that the Archmage is actually still in orbit, right? Maybe docking with a fueling space station, which I love and I really appreciate. That's a really good idea. It totally makes sense that a gigantic freighter wouldn't come always come in Atmo. So that's what we have framed up, and we have a little bit of music from the band that's starting to set up, and some crowds are moving back and forth. Because it's a plot scene, let's take a look at Rook and just make sure that we're framing everything right. Your impulse is timidity. Your issue is guilt. And so as everything is forming up, the first thing that we see with your set being set up right now is that there is a chain line. And there are 4 Wookiees that are being led towards the bazaar. And we see there are a couple of stormtroopers. There's one with like the orange shoulder pad thing going on. He's like the squad leader, and they're escorting some of the Wookiees off to be sold at market. And one of the stormtroopers kind of looks back at you, and he says something to one of the other stormtroopers in their internal little comm system, and he chuckles, like the head move, like he's laughing a little bit. And Ani comes up and she kind of pats your shoulder. She's sensitive to that, how much that has to hurt. What do you do?
I think I give Ania a look that she's seen before, and then I turn over to Aesel and say, "Do you think you have time to follow them down? I know we're not here for this, but
I like, and then I head off. Like, you didn't even finish your sentence.
Nice. I like that. Cool.
I'm like, I come up to your like waist. I'm like, and I,
oh, that is really, I really like that size differentiation. That's really cool. So the Bothan like blends into the crowd and kind of disappears into the crowd. We'll follow you in just a minute, but we're going to hang with this scene. And a Toydarian, remember those are like the short guys, the little like cherub wings. They're basically a lizardy cherub is the way I kind of imagine them. One of them kind of comes floating around, and he looks and goes, "Oh, look, he's a Wookiee. What is a Wookiee going to do?" A few people are starting to form up. What's the kind of song, what is the song that you guys lead off with? What's the call to action that we're here, we're come look at us? And a few of the other members of the band start walking around with like hats in hand to get credits and great credits. So what's the song like?
Oh yeah, totally. Well, I mean, it's a busy street essentially. It's loud place. There's a lot of scum and villainy, if you will, around. So we need to get their attention. Yeah, exactly. It's just a buzz with scum and villainy. So we have to play something really loud. So this is definitely going to be like a rock ballad, like 80s style. We've got some electronic drums set up. We'd have to have a drummer, of course. So one of the players has like a drum set that's like projected out of this little machine, and then whenever they hit, it's like makes sweet sound. And then we've got our flautist and some kind of corded, in this case it'll be electric, but some kind of guitar type thing, maybe like a steel guitar looking one, since it's
I like it.
Star Wars and it has to be weird. And then we've got our backup dancers. But yeah, it's like I can't think of a good song off the top of my head, but it's totally like an 80s rock ballad.
Sweet. I like it. We get to feature you singing in Wookiee, and then the subtitles just happen to be a slightly rephrased 80s love ballad kind of song, but there's enough hard rock in here where people are a lot of the crowd, as they're moving and milling about, some of them are stopping and some others start to form a little bit of a ring around. You get a few bits and barter and chits that are going on. That's good. But I think let's build to a crisis. So there's a squad of stormtroopers that circle back. It's like, they don't circle back because we're going to deal with that with Aesel. There's another squad of stormtroopers that come around, and you hear them talking. Ani dances over, and it's a possibility that they may like enforce some kind of permits, kind of thing that doesn't exist in Mos Eisley, but the Imperials are trying to establish some control. You can see a few TIE fighters fly overhead. So I'm trying to push on your issue here. Are you going to drown them out or take some other kind of action, or are these stormtroopers going to shut you down? So that's the crisis. I'm going to try to build to a conflict here. So what do you want to do? What's your reaction?
I think I like the idea of Ani kind of like getting really aggressive with the stormtroopers and starting to like yell at them about abusing their power and stuff. But Rook puts a big hand like on her shoulder. Her shoulder isn't even big enough to hold his whole hand, and kind of pulls her back a little bit and says, "Look, we don't have time for trouble." And yeah, he's just making excuses for his own actions. We don't have time for trouble. We don't want to draw any attention. Let's move on or find a cantina. We still have some time to make money. And I think we see
Ooh.
Noct in the background kind of like shaking his head, looking shamed.
Oh man, so I think the conflict then is Ani gonna make a thing out of this, and are you gonna lose the band's faith in you as kind of their lead singer and frontman by being cowardly? That sounds great. So let's state that out as your conflict right now. So this is super exciting. So I have a budget. I have a gigantic budget, but we only have so much time. So I'm just going to be a dick and throw forth. I'm spending 4 out of my budget. So I'm going to show you guys how I have this set up in Roll20. We'll go over it again next week when we come back to another conflict. So I start off with a budget that's this weird little algebraic equation based off of your screen presence times 3 plus some number. But let's just say it's 21. I'm spending 4 out of that. So I'll just reduce that down to 17. And then this goes immediately into the audience pool. So the 4 that I just spent go into the audience pool. Now, there's this awesome, amazing mechanic called fan mail. I'm hand gesturing excitedly, but I'm screen sharing. I do that sometimes. Fan mail comes from the audience pool. And the way that fan mail works is that anyone other than the producer can kick a fan mail to another player character for something witty, something cool going on, appreciating their play. It can happen in the middle of a scene. It can happen after a scene. And the way that you'll need to kind of handle it here is you probably just need to type a little thing of like fan mail to so-and-so and character name or player name. I've got them both here. And then once that fan mail happens, you just go in and that player will need to modify. The green is going to be your fan mail, and the person who gives it out, you'll need to reduce that. And the way to reduce it, you have to actually, if it's, knock it down to 3, you have to hit enter. And now it's, if you just click on it and then click away, it'll like, you can change it back to 4. But if you click away, it stays 3. So you have to actually have enter for it to accept. So we're at 4 audience pool. I am spending 4 from my budget to give myself 4 cards. Let's figure out how many Rook has. At default, we go with your screen presence of 2. So you start with 2 cards. We look at your edges and connections to see if there are any more that apply here. You're a Wookiee or a vocal performer, and you have a connection to the Gardener. I don't think the Gardener applies. Either of these 2 edges you feel like apply? You're muted.
Yeah. I think the vocal performer applies because I can kind of use
Absolutely
the whole thing to my advantage.
Okay.
But because of the way I'm framing it, I don't think the Wookiee applies.
Okay. That sounds good. So you now have 3 cards, and because we just now got some audience pool out there, there's no fan mail for you to add to. So you're going to get 3 cards. I've got 4 cards. So let's do it. I'm going to deal 3 cards to Rook. Now you've got them down here. Do you see them?
Mm-hmm.
And then I deal myself 4 cards because I'm terrible. And I used way too many cards, and I don't care. Screw you guys. Sweet. So the way we do this is we would just reveal out. Now, are there any players that wanted to throw in And if so, let's figure out how. I know the way we frame things is a little difficult for anyone to be involved in the conflict. Nilmal really don't see it, but potentially it could happen for ISIL if you really wanted to. Alejandro, what are you thinking? Just let it ride? You are muted, Alejandro. You are still muted, Alejandro. I can't hear you.
Hi.
All right.
So I'm a little confused. The fan mail comes out of where?
So the fan mail, the cycle works like this. The producer spends budget. It goes into the audience pool. Players can award fan mail from the audience pool to other players. And then those players can spend fan mail for extra cards. And the cards that are bought with fan mail, if they come up red, then it goes back into the producer's budget. Because this pilot is an abbreviated pilot, I'm not worried about that right now, but that's how the full cycle works. I spent 4. They went to audience pool. They now can be handed out to other players by you guys.
Okay, so how do I hand one out?
You just type in here like so-and-so fan mail to blah, or you give one at a time, not two. And then I'll try to help keep track, but once we get comfortable with it, you'd go in here, type in the new number of audience pool because you've given one out, and then that player will see that they got a fan mail, and they should go in here and say they're gonna add 1, 2, then do like that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Several steps, and I apologize. In a table, it's just poker chips, and it's super cool, but we are not at a table because you guys won't move to Jacksonville. Damn it.
I think that in this case, you could only theoretically circle back and help with the negotiations with the Stormtroopers, or try to like.
Yeah, I'm not there. So
okay, cool. If you're good letting it ride, then that's fine. Let's go ahead. And what we want to do now is reveal our cards. So I am going to put my cards in front of producer's budget by dragging them. You should have the same interface, Joshua, where you can do that and drag it to you. Oh, look at you with your jack. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Is that good? I don't know.
That's awesome. Okay, so
interesting result.
How does the scene go? Do you have more red cards than the producer? I see 1 red card. I have 3. You got 3. Okay, cool. So do you have more red cards than the producer? No. Is your highest card higher than the producer's? Your highest card is higher than the producer's. Yes. So you get a no but. The no but is a plot scene. You don't get what you want, but you keep it together, which means you don't have to worry about your influence or anything like that. So what you wanted was to convince the crew, hey, let's go somewhere else where it's safe. You don't have to worry about these stormtroopers. Let's go find some other place to perform. Does that make sense?
Yes. So that doesn't happen. So maybe this is Ani throwing a fit, or does it make more sense for, like you were mentioning earlier, where I just lose a little cred essentially with the performers because I didn't stand up for them?
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you didn't stand up for the performers, and they have lost a little bit of faith in you, and Ani is upset by that. And she says, just, and then she circles up and they start playing this like more thrash metal. This gets a little bit louder and louder, and the stormtroopers start moving in, and the guy with the orange shoulder pads, he comes in, but you keep it together. So you tell me, do the stormtroopers break you guys up, or do they end up just grabbing a few other people, but you now are not singing, the band is just playing?
I think they come in and start dismantling the set. And
Dicks.
yeah, and I just kind of, Rook just kind of steps back and almost like lets them do it. You know, he's got one of those like, but he ends up kind of just grabbing the performers and gently moving them out of the way, kind of watching them dismantle, and then we're just going to move somewhere else as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, like there's a moment where the drummer, and I super need to figure out who your drummer is. The drummer is like, "Get your hands off my," and they're really, really upset that their drums are about to be dismantled. And Stormtrooper pulls up their little blaster carbine. They've got it set to stun, but you convince them to, and so the band stays intact, but you had to tuck your tails. And Anani is pretty upset by it. And the group's not super happy, but you're being pragmatic. So you keep things together. But yeah, one of your palm trees, one of the fronds is broken off in the movement. Cool. So we have enough time for one more scene. Like that one will have to be pretty quick. We'll have longer scenes next session. I'm going to try to work with Horse in the week intervening to help him do some character creation so that we don't have that front loading, but we'll do what we can. I don't like homework between sessions because we're adults. We have lives and stuff. So Pavel or Alejandro, anyone have a burning desire for a scene?
I'd like to play out the me following the slavers scene.
Works for me. Are you okay with that, Pavel?
Sure.
Okay, and we'll definitely start with you. Like you'll have one of the very first scenes next session. I mean, next episode. Cool. So is this a character scene or a plot scene? Character scene means we focus and frame it around your issues. Plot scenes, we're going to follow the trail of, where Isol went off to try to deal with those 4 Wookiees that are being sold.
Well, I mean, I would. How about a character scene? As I'm doing that.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, there are always options to go either way, so I'm very okay with that. So this, keep in mind, your issue is worried about you losing your job with Bondo or losing your role with the rebellion. Yeah, I have to set that number. So we see the female Wookiee has already been pulled up onto the slave traders block. And we have a number of Gamorreans that are kind of talking and laughing. And then there's one Trandoshan who's there. He's got a couple of Weequay with him. And there's a little bit of a bidding war with the female Wookiee that's going on. But what do we see with Isol as you sneak in with this scene taking place?
So Isol's kind of walking in, like behind a group, kind of trying to look like he's part of the group, and he was following the slavers. And in his mind, it's this like total James Bond like thing, but really, it's just he's kind of walking in behind another group. And he's also constantly checking in with Lieutenant Nucht, and with Rook, but not like keeping his mic on. So he's like, all right, we're going into this location. And then I shut off my mic so they can't communicate back. I'm just like in the mode. And then, so now I'm going to look for something, because clearly Rook wanted me to save this Wookiee.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously Rook knows this Wookiee. That's why he sent me on this mission. So I'm looking for some way to like cause a distraction that'll allow me to like run up there and free the Wookiee, and we can run off into the sunset.
Oh, that sounds awesome. So the Trandoshan that you saw earlier is wearing like this orange pilot jumpsuit. And you see that in this hovering little crate, it's on like a little hover pad, there are a number of like gewgaws and expensive items that were obviously like just pulled off of shelves, and clever people who like go back, they find that it's a few things from Jabba's palace, right? It's a few things that he's already like looted Jabba's palace and has some stuff, and he's offering up these like golden, very expensive items from Jabba's palace as what he's bidding. And then over there, the Gamorreans, they are in communication with this hut that's on like a hollow, and they keep barking out numbers in their weird squealing pig noise. So you're sneaking around trying to find some way to create a distraction.
Yeah.
Is this a thing where maybe you imagine that ISIL would like destroy something in the set, or bring things to violence, try to escalate some kind of conflict between the two bidders? What do you imagine?
First of all, are we in an enclosed space or is it an open space?
I'm imagining that it's like a big, there's a like a raised dais,
Yeah.
where the Wookiee is there, and then there are other Wookiees in their little chain gang that are not in cages because they're going to be brought up next.
Yeah.
We don't have any. We have the stormtroopers that are kind of milling around because this is an official sanctioned action, and then a large crowd that's gathered up in this corner of the bazaar.
Yeah, he's willing to do whatever it takes. So, so if that, I have them. I'm an untrained Force user, so as a tradition is like putting things up, like he'll pick something expensive up, and like he'll knock other expensive things down like into the audience where people can just like grab it, you know what I mean, and maybe start some sort of free for all. And so with my Force powers,
I like it. So we see like a couple of items start to move and wiggle, and I think that's our conflict, right? Do you successfully create a bit of chaos so that you can steal off and help these Wookiees escape?
Yeah.
All right. So we are now to a conflict. We're going to move quickly through. I am going to spend 4 more because I'm crazy. I'm going to spend 4 more, which goes to the audience pool. So now the audience pool is up to 7 because it was 8 and someone gave out 1. I get 4 cards. I'm going to deal myself 4 cards. Let's take a look at how many cards you would get, ISIL. So as we look at your character, you're using the Force, so that absolutely makes sense here.
Yeah.
What do you think about Rebel Soldier? Do you think that edge applies?
I do, because once this happens, I need to be able to like run in there and like free them and then like escort them back to the ship, and so it's potential gunfire, you know.
All right, it sounds good. I buy it. Anyone opposed? All right, good. So you get 4 cards because you had a screen presence of 2 and you used 2 edges. And so the way this game would work in a longer example is that you kind of use up that edge. You have to have a scene at your personal set to effectively recharge.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
So you've got 4 cards. I've got 4 cards. I'm going to reveal them. I think things are looking good for you because while I have Jack High, I'm nothing but black cards. Now, do you know how to, let me screen share real quick, make sure you're comfy with that. Can you click on these 4 here down by your name?
Yeah.
You should be able to just click and drag. Oh my goodness, there's a red, so you automatically won the conflict. And got a Jack. Got anything more?
Yeah, they're not sliding out. Oh, they're there.
2 reds. Nice. Okay, cool. So do you have more red cards than the producer? Absolutely yes. Is your highest card higher than the producer? Red over black. So yes, you get yes, and it's character. You resist your impulse. Let's take a look. Your impulse is being impulsive. Interesting. But impulsive meaning you resist the consequences. And you get yes, and. So you resist your impulse. Everything goes your way. You trounced me, I'm sad to say. What does this look like?
So yeah, so as the tradition picks up the first thing, he just like not like it like he knocks the floating crate over. He just like totally elbows it, and and all of these valuables just scatter all over the place.
You're like, Houdini! And then Jawas
there's
are like
like
grabbing over the stuff.
And while that happens, I run up behind where all the slavers are, and then the Imperial there's stormtroopers there, right? Yeah, so they're just trying to pull people off, and then you just see some stormtroopers actually pocketing some stuff what they can. And with that, I just grab the hand of the Wookiee that they're doing. How many Wookiees are there?
There were 4.
There are 4, and I'm like, let's go. And we all crouch down and head out the back door. Like, and
nice.
I'm like,
so we've got 3 Wookiees that are like have these neck collars. They're chained to each other, and maybe one of them wraps around and clotheslines a stormtrooper, and they all run off, and you guys head into the alleyway to get away.
Yeah.
And that is fantastic. Is there anything you say to the Wookiees?
Yeah, I'm like, so I'm like pulling them by the elbow, like leading them through the alleys, and I'm like, listen, Rook sent me out here to get you. We're on our way. We've got this transport ship, and we're going to get you off planet. Don't worry about it. Just keep your heads down, keep your voices down, and we'll make this.
Awesome.
Rook's got your back.
You're saying that, and all the Wookiees are excited. They're kind of hovering around you, or huddling around you in the alleyway, and then we hear whoosh, whoosh, and we see this ATST move down the opposite street at the end of the alleyway, and that's our cliffhanger that ends this particular episode of our kind of pilot Try Before You Buy. This is the release free to YouTube to get everybody to come to Disney Plus and pay $15 a month or whatever the hell, and that'll be the end of our session. Don't forget that you guys can kick some fan mail, but there is no like end of session stuff to the like there's no character wrap up and things like that, other than one of my next favorite awesome things, which is what we'll end the official game with. I know we're going a little bit in overtime. I apologize, but this is good. It's called Next Time On. So in Next Time On, this is like the kind of heading towards the credits, and we see a couple of scenes that will be in our next episode, and then it's up to us. Like, it may end up on the cutting room floor, but it's our responsibility that as we frame scenes, we try to bring these images on. So it's the thing that happens at the end of an episode, and it's the exciting. I try not to overload it. I try to make it flexible. It could be like a flash of a moment, a reaction from someone. It could be someone getting shot, someone falling. That's the kind of thing. So we will start, and I want to let Pablo go last because he didn't get a scene. So we will lead off with, since you're still hot from playing your character, Isel, what is your Next Time On?
Next Time On is me standing in front of Bando in the docking bay with the 4 Wookiees behind me, and him saying, why the hell do we have these people here? Like, this was not the mission. There was no. We didn't get paid for this.
We didn't get paid for this. I love it. Sweet. And so, Rook, what is the next time on for you?
I think the next time on for me is me in the bar on the ship having a drink, and then you see someone come up behind me. It's knocked. He says something. I have a low growl and then turn and punch him. Because I really like this relationship between.
Yay! This makes me so happy. And then last but absolutely not least, Neil Mao, what is your Next Time On? And it doesn't always have to involve your character, but like, I really love what you guys are setting up, so this makes me very excited.
Yeah, I think we have a. I think the scene is quite dark. We see Neil and we see Annie, and they're moving somewhere. It's hard to say whether those are like the tiny corridors of a ship or the knight at Mos Eisley, and then at some point, Neil says, no, we shouldn't." And then there is just like the cut, and there's like a blaster fire, and then we just hear like the blaster discharge.
Yes. This Anna-Nee, she's so fiery. I love her. Great job, guys. Excellent. Next time on. Really love the quick scenes that we were able to get to in our abbreviated pilot. Thank you so much. So this officially ends the game. I always love to do feedback, but we're over time. So if anybody needs to go, totally respect your time. Thanks for giving me the 3 extra minutes. If you've got another 10, 15 minutes to give me, stick around and we will do feedback. I, however, am going to take a 2-minute bio break. So it's 3 minutes after. And at 5 minutes after, I'll start up the feedback with everybody that can stick around. So
Sure.
Thank you guys so much. We'll be back in a couple.
Are you back?
I am back.
All right. How you doing?
Great. I'm like charged. I'm in that post-game high. I'm super excited.
It says live. Are you still recording?
I am. I usually record my feedback session.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But I know a lot of people don't, but like sometimes if I can't watch the entire episode, I'll listen to the feedback. So I go, at least I don't fuck that up twice.
Yeah.
That's my number one goal. Don't make the same mistake 2 times in a row. Everything else is improvement. Good. Thanks you guys for sticking around. We'll give Pavel another minute here. Can't wait to like jump on and brag about this game to other people as soon as possible.
I wasn't sure how the resolution mechanics were going to work. You know, I was looking at the Roll20 and like seeing all the charts and stuff, but it's actually pretty sweet.
It is pretty sweet. I tell you, man, this is a great game. I really like Primetime Adventures. It makes me super happy. There's actually, I had the fortune of playing PTA back when it was playtesting for 3rd edition. So like I have a very warm spot in my heart for it. Thanks. Welcome back, Pavel. So we do our traditional, my traditional feedback method of roses and thorns. We start with thorns so we can end on a happy note. Thorns are disappointments, points of confusion, things that you're like, hey, can we make sure that we tackle this next session? And again, taught you guys a new system, or a system that's been hopefully updated a few times from the 1st edition. I think it was like dice the first time the PTA came out before it went to cards. So any of that feedback, remember, I am the child of a Marine Corps sergeant who became a high school principal. I can take it, my bros. So be open and honest. Give me that feedback, because PTA is a game that I want to make sure I represent well, because it's a game I want to be able to facilitate and produce as a producer GM for the Gauntlet in the future. So your feedback is very much welcome. We're going to start with Pavel. Pavel, what thorns did you have from today's session?
Yeah, a thorn to myself, because I didn't realize until it was way too late that Alejandro is also doing a pilot. I know that I knew that he was doing like the security guy, but I had no idea it's going to be a pilot as well. And we kind of have like 2 pilots. I'm not sure how big of a thing I think it will be, but yeah, I could have went with something else. I just realized this too late. I basically realized this when you were talking about the fighter that
when
we
he
have
made
2
it set,
pilots.
to me, I was like, oh wait, Starbuck and Apollo were both pilots, and it totally worked. And I think the fact that you're the pilot of the big ship is really going to command a completely different scenarios. So you're welcome to your Thorn, but I think it's going to be fine.
If I can interject, my view of ISIL is less of a pilot and more of a soldier.
Okay.
And he's just, when he's piloting in space, it's more of a soldier. You know what I mean? I don't pretend to ever have any like piloting episodes or scenes other than cool little establishing shots or anything like that. I'm not opposed to it, but that's, you know, I see he's more of a soldier than a pilot. So.
Okay. Second thing, I'm not sure if this was due to very short time at the end, but kind of like this, the resolution of both scenes, there was no interaction with there was very little interaction with the NPCs. The resolution was just told as I was reading a script, rather than the resolution was played out. I understand that we were short on time, but I would like to see things leading to drawing the cards, having some interaction with the NPCs, with the world, and then the aftermath also having some resolution. Because,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely agree. That's a great note. We will definitely mark that as a milestone to reach for next session.
Thinking if I had something more on my mind. Nope, nothing. Nothing came to mind. Maybe it will come before we go to roses.
Okay. Joshua.
What Pavel said was my main thorn as well. Like even in the scene with Rook, I wanted to have more like. I think I got caught up on trying to think of a name for the drummer, but I wanted to like start talking to the drummer or have more talking with Ani. But yeah, I think it was mostly a time thing. But yeah, I completely agree with that. I want to push towards that for all of us.
I'll just assure you that's not normally how PTA plays. There absolutely should have been more drama. I specifically pushed hard because I wanted to get 2 example scenes in of conflict, and I did give you guys short shrift on the drama. I will not have to do so next time.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. And then I still don't fully understand how fan mail works. Like, is there a limit on how many fan mail you can give out? Or does there have to be a reason for the fan mail you give out?
Time. It can be, fan mail is really wide open. It could be, oh, you made me laugh, or you really embodied your character. Here's a fan mail. I usually try to give 1 per scene and no more, like 1 per character per scene and no more. But yeah, you could, like, everyone here gets a fan mail, and the only thing that kind of, is there a control mechanism? Yeah, it's only what I've spent out of my budget, so. That's how it goes.
Gotcha. Other than that, I really like all the stuff we've come up with, so that's my only thorn.
Awesome. Good. We'll times 2 that one. Alejandro, what thorns did you have?
I didn't really have any. I mean, the closest thing to a thorn was the fact that we had to learn a new system, and which is not.
You're here for it.
Yeah, it's not really a thorn. Yeah, my scene was rushed, but if it wasn't, then I wouldn't have had my scene. So, same. I felt the same with Rook. So, yeah, there wasn't enough for there to be a thorn. So I apologize for not being able to thorn you guys.
Cool. Thank you, Alejandro. Now we'll swing around. I do it in snake order. So, Alejandro, you'll kick us off with roses. Roses are highlights, moments you enjoyed. You can also, it doesn't have to cover the actual active play. It can be part of the character creation, scene creation, series creation. Moments that you'll carry forward, look forward to next session, and attaboys to the other players for good play.
So, Rich, I think you did a great job. I mean, those two scenes, you know, we had half an hour, and we, you know, we got a good sense of the two characters that were in play. We had a good sense of those. So I think that was handled well. I mean, my scene was satisfying. It really showed this kind of competent character that hopefully we could demonstrate as not competent later, and then maybe, you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to play with that. I got a really good sense of Rook in his character, and I liked his scene, how it showed him wanting to be the lead, the band lead, and he just couldn't do it. You know, he just couldn't. I was good. And Pavel, I appreciate you not having a scene so that we could have a scene. So I appreciate your sacrifice. You know, that was cool. So thank you. I am looking forward to getting a better sense of Nil and getting to meet him. Is it a him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Alejandro, so much. Joshua, what roses did you have to hand out?
I think the biggest rose I have is kind of a group rose. I loved the creation of the cast and all of that. I always enjoy having a lot of NPCs, and I think the NPCs and the connections and the characters that we came up with are just like gold for as far as resources for building cool scenes and cool connections going forward. So it's kind of a all-around rose for everyone's input on that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see some of these characters on this. Just so you guys know, the Roll20, you can go in even when I'm not there. So if you get really inspired with the cast list, you want to go in and name a certain character, feel free. In the intervening week, I am going to slowly be filling in, and my brain is buzzing on who the drummer is. Percusso Bot 9000 is the first thing I thought of, but I think that's a terrible idea. So someone should probably come up with a better one than Percusso Bot 9000. Oh my God, just so excited for Percusso Bot. No, so there's that. Thank you, Joshua. Pavel, bring us home. What roses did you have, sir?
I also you, Rich, for facilitating this game creation. It went smoothly, and we created something amazing. And I rose to my fellow players for creating interesting NPC list, and then creating NPCs together creating pieces together, because that's the thing that I see so rarely. Even for other games at Gauntlet, I usually come to the game with the character created rather than created on the session. But here, all of us created the characters together, talked it through, and now everyone has good understanding of the character, of the other characters and their problems, and we can play it nicely. So yeah, that was really cool example of what PTA stands for, to create everything together.
Yeah, I definitely want to hand out a rose, because I'll be honest with you, and I talked about this before we went on screen. I have seen series creation discussions last for an entire game session and end up with no resolution. And you guys did a great job of talking through a few different ideas, nobody getting offended when an idea was chucked, critically challenging ideas to shape them and make them better. And what we ended up with, I felt like, was like the best of all the worlds, because it gets us so many really cool ideas for possibilities, for scenes, for great characters, awesome sets. This is super good. I'm really excited for this game, and I appreciate you guys so much for doing that and being considerate and good players. You guys are awesome to play with, and I can't wait to play with you guys next week. So we will bring this to a close. Thanks for sticking around a little bit extra time, and have a good rest of your week, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.